Welcome into the Great Park in Irvine. It is terrible night, which means that we'll be messing around a little bit up here in the broadcast booth, but it's an important game on the field for the Riptide. They currently sit just a half game behind the Conejo Oaks as they look to take down the #1 overall seed. I'm Colin Costigan alongside Sam Evans. Wait, that's not quite right. I'm Sam Evans alongside Colin Costigan as we begin the festivities here on Terrible Night. Well, Colin, huge game tonight for the Riptide.
Absolutely. There's nothing terrible about the game that we have tonight between the Philippines and Orange County Riptide. The Riptide are looking to complete the season sweep of the Philippines, but most importantly, they just need to focus on playing good baseball right now. You don't want to underestimate any opponent here on out. These 4 games left could determine their seeding in the playoffs.
It was a devastating loss yesterday, Colin. Riptide were up 4-0 going into the bottom of the 8th inning against the Arroyo Seco Saints. They gave up 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th, the most they've allowed in a single inning all season long. Going to look to bounce back against a Philippines team that, while 1-21 today, has been kind of feisty at times this year. We'll take you through the Philippines lineup here on Thursday night. Eric Espinoza leads things off and plays center field. Johnny Reister at shortstop bats second. Braden Sells, the second baseman, bats third. Isaiah Chavez at first bats cleanup. Damian Steck catches and bats fifth. Ethan Granillo DHs at bats sixth. In the 7-hole, Kai Nagashima plays third base. Caden Lewis in left field bats 8th. And rounding out the lineup, Wyatt Lamarsna in right field. Just one lefty, Reister the shortstop, and one switch hitter, Nagashima the third baseman. Everyone else is righties. Orange County's defense, Tatum Marsh in left, Alex Dolan in center, Bradley Navarro in right. Dennis Fitzpatrick's first start all year at the hot corner. Brock Folds at shortstop, Connor Barth in his usual second base, Alonzo Reyes at first, and Sean Romero's doing the catching for the right-hander Eric Rodriguez Jr. Well, Colin, Eric committed to San Jose State since his last start, so congratulations to Mr. Rodriguez on that. It's been an up-and-down summer at times for him.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at his last start that he had on the 17th against the Bombers. It did not go the way he wanted it to. He tried to work into that 5th inning, did end up giving those 5 total runs, 4 of them earned. He was very good in the beginning. He was 9 up, 9 down through the first 3, but just struggled to get through the end of it. Riptide are going to need all the innings they can get out of him here tonight.
How much length can you get from Espinoza? Let's have some little audio spikes from our field mic in terms of for the Terrible Night theming. It fits in. Just about ready to get this ball game underway. As Rodriguez comes set on the mound with Espinoza at the plate. Critical game for the Riptide. Down the stretch run, looking for the #1 seed, looking for a home playoff game. We're underway. So Rodriguez misses down and away. Game begins at 6:06 p.m. Eric Espinoza has loved hitting against the Riptide. He's 6 for 9 here at the Great Park this summer. This one's chopped foul over by third base. 1-1 count.
It's great that you mentioned that, too, because he has 9 hits on the season total, so 2/3, of course, have come here against the Riptide.
New Menlo College commit. Definitely has been producing especially highly with the Riptide. 3-pitch mix for the right-hander Rodriguez. Fastball, changeup, slider. Went to the changeup there for strike 2.
Yeah, really the way his night can go is going to be how he can effectively mix that up. You look at his fastball, hits as high as almost 95, and then you can mix it in with that changeup. Easily one of the most lethal combos you can have in your arsenal.
Looking for his first strikeout of the evening. Just misses low. Espinoza stays alive, 2-2.
Of course, no ABS challenges here in the CCL, but that one could easily make your case for it. It was a really sharp slider, though. That one had some great two-plane action.
The 2-2. And that will get the knob of the bat for Espinoza. Or did that miss inside and just bounce off of Romero's glove?
I believe it, yeah. It's a full count. I think it just popped off of his glove. It's, you know, it is terrible night, but I don't think Romero was trying to do that.
So an early full count. Good start for the Philippines, who really like to battle and take defensive at-bats. It'll work out here as Espinoza draws the walk. He's aboard for a Johnny Reister.
That was just a great at-bat right there from Espinoza. He took a very bold 1-2 take early in that count, and then just battled his way back right there. He saw the inside pitch right before that, and he went right back to it, but the patience of him gets him the first base runner of the evening.
Reister, the only lefty in this lineup for the Philippines. Riptide will bring the corners of the infield in, preparing for the bunt, but he swings away, uncorks one to deep center field. Long run for Dolan, who tracks it down up against the wall. Nice play from Alex Dolan in deep center. Huge first out for Rodriguez in the Riptide.
You talk about squaring around a bunt. He belted that one into deep center field. A heck of a play from Dolan. That was not as easy as he made it look.
Got a good jump on that ball. Slightly earlier start, first 6 p.m. game that we've played all year. Mostly Riptide games have been starting at 7 p.m. And so a little warmer in the day. Ball carries a little bit more. So Rodriguez finds the zone for strike one against Braden Sells, hitting .207 so far this summer. And it is a hot one today, Colin. 86 degrees at the time of the first pitch. Runner goes. This one's chopped towards shortstop. Folds has it. He's only got one play. It's at first. Double clutched, and it won't be in time. Last home game here, Brock Folds made a couple of spectacular plays at shortstop, but this time had a little bit of trouble getting it out of his glove. And the Philippines have 2 aboard with just 1 out here in the top of the first. Not the start the Riptide were hoping for.
Yeah, Brock Folds is obviously his 8th game at short for the Riptide this summer, but he has been almost a human backboard every time that he has been over there. So very rare miscue. It was a very tough play for him, though. Just couldn't get it out of the glove in time.
And that shouldn't be an error. That should be a base hit. It's just a play that Folds probably thinks he could have made, though not necessarily one he should have made. Big for Rodriguez to get ahead of Isaiah Chavez with strike one. The first baseman has really struggled this summer. He's hitting just .132. 0-1. Liner up the middle, base hit. This could be a run early for the Philippines, but the stop sign will go up. They'll settle for the bases being loaded as Espinoza goes to third, Sells into scoring position at second after Isaiah Chavez gets the base hit. Now the Riptide getting some help from the San Luis Obispo Blues as they're ahead of their competition for the number 1 seed, the Conejo Oaks, 5-1. The Riptide facing an early jam here. The bases are loaded with just 1 out for the Philippines and Damian Steck. Corners of the infield in for Orange County. Strike one. Nice fastball on the outside half. Orange County would love to turn 2 against the catcher Steck. Swing and a miss. 0-2 count. Steck has taken just 3 at-bats, 5 plate appearances this summer. They've all come here at the Great Park. Still hitless, but he has walked twice. Oh, 2. Up and in. Ball 1.
Yeah, you mentioned the numbers for him. Obviously, limited action for him so far. A newer addition to this Philippines team. And if you're Eric Rodriguez, you definitely want to try to take advantage of that and attack the zones like he is right now. You just want to make sure that you can offer a little bit more competitive pitches with 2 strikes.
Ground ball chopped foul. Steck stays alive. And the Philippines just putting together good plate appearances here. Espinoza drew the full count walk. Reister, the only out of the inning, absolutely laced one to deep center. And then the infield single from Sells and the line drive knock from Chavez. That one hit hard but foul as Steck out in front of the off speed from Rodriguez.
Yeah, you mentioned it's been kind of a tough start for Rodriguez when he gets into these outings. You mentioned it last time against the Bombers. He allowed an unearned run in the first, and obviously wasn't credited him, but I mentioned the 9-up, 9-down. That was through the 2nd and 4th inning. So we know that once he's able to try to settle in, that's usually when he can find his groove.
Wants to get through this inning and then get into a rhythm. That's a big help. Strike 3 as Steck waves through the fastball from Rodriguez. Now 2 outs. Base is still loaded for Ethan Granillo. So Rodriguez gets his first K of the evening.
That's exactly what you want to do if you're Rodriguez right there. A batter who had just 3 official ABs. You want to be able to try to challenge him and dare him to hit your fastball, which he threw right there.
Another guy who's been struggling with the DH Granillo, just hitting .067 this summer. First pitch fastball on the outside, black, 0-1. Rodriguez has gotten ahead of these hitters, but they've been able to hang in and create deep counts early. But for a team like the Philippines, towards the bottom of the CCL in batting average, can't afford to miss out on opportunities like this. They check down towards first. Frank Flugrat says that Granillo offered. And now Rodriguez just 1 strike away from working out of this bases-loaded 1-out jam that he got himself into. A big 0-2 early in this game. Spoiled back foul. Logan from the Riptide's bat boy goes out and grabs that baseball. And Logan threw out a gem of a first pitch tonight. They were 4 terrible nights throwing them with oranges rather than baseballs. But Logan absolutely dotted one from the mound. Would have been a strike. It was a perfect pitch from the bat boy. Rodriguez looking for a perfect pitch here. Fastball, strike 3. Back-to-back Ks to get out of the bases-loaded jam. Big early 0 from Eric Rodriguez. Riptide bats coming up when we come back. Bottom of the first inning, still 0-0 as the Riptide lineup comes to the plate for the first time. They're led off by Bradley Navarro, the right fielder, followed by Brock Folds at shortstop, Jarrett Sable, the DH, the 3 guaranteed to bat here in the first. Alonzo Reyes plays first and bats cleanup. Connor Barth at the Keystone bats 5th. Dennis Fitzpatrick at 3rd bats 6th. Tatum Marsh in left bats 7th. Batting 8 and behind the plate, Sean Romero. And Alex Dolan in center field rounds out the Riptide lineup. Defense for the Philippines, Caden Lewis in left, Eric Espinoza center, Wyatt Lamarzna in right. From left to right in the infield, Kai Nagashima, Ajani Reister, Braden Sells, and Isaiah Chavez. Damian Steck doing the catching for the left-hander Jacob Gudino, who's got an 11.57 ERA in 9 1/3 so far this summer. It's the second start for the Philippines for the left-hander Gudino. Switch hitter Navarro batting from the right side. First pitch fastball off the plate outside, 1-0. Navarro hitting .353, just his 6th game since rejoining the Riptide. The 1-0 misses outside. And a 2-0 count for the dangerous Bradley Navarro. Had the off day yesterday, but went 2 for 4 and doubled against the Saints in the Riptide's comeback win here at the Great Park on Tuesday. 2-0. Ground ball towards shortstop. It'll bounce off Reister and into left field. Navarro thinking about trying to advance to second on the play, and he will. Heads up base running from Bradley Navarro to take advantage of a Johnny Reister's error. And after the Philippines squandered having the bases loaded with just one out, the Riptide with a great opportunity to score here in the bottom of the first.
Well, before you could really get into the aggression of that at bat right there, I was just about to talk about this the first time we're seeing Navarro from the right-handed side this season. We know we got to see him do that last summer as well, but interesting, of course. That one really took a nasty carom in the dirt for Reister. As much as that was an error, it was a tricky play as well.
Heavy dirt here at the Great Park. Little hard. Works out for the Riptide. Now Brock Folds at the plate, hitting .261 as his 10th game with the Riptide. Squares to bunt. Pops it up over towards the Philippines dugout. 0-1. So the Riptide's competition for the playoff spot. They have already secured that they will be playing postseason baseball. But Colin, there's really three teams, including the Riptide, that we're looking at. What's the 0-1 here to Folds? Misses up and away. Colin, you want to take us through it?
Yeah, absolutely. You look at it for Orange County right now. Of course, the other two teams that they're really trying to be out with, of course, is the Oaks, who are just ahead of them in the standings as of right now. They're separated by just a half game, and they have a huge 2 games going on. Of course, right now they were trailing 5-1 towards the later innings against the Blues, and they play them again tomorrow night.
1-1 on the outside part of the zone for strike 2.
And, of course, the other team would be the Barons. Of course, they are behind the Orange County Riptide. They sit at 17-14 right now. They have an off day today, but their magic number for the Riptide to at least clinch the number 2 seed is 2. So if they simply beat the Barons tomorrow, they will secure the number 2 seed.
Yeah, so the Riptide can't clinch anything today, but they can take a couple of big steps closer by dispatching of this Philippines squad. And it's a Philippines team that 1-21. It's 1-21. You know, it's been an ugly season, but they've been playing better baseball of late. Relatively tight loss to Slow the other day. They were walked off by the Riptide here on Sunday. They ended up picking up their first win all summer 6 days ago in Pasadena. So this is a team that's been playing better lately. It's not exactly the, free win that you've been looking at maybe earlier in the summer when you see this Philippines team come to town. In fact, the last 2 games, while the Riptide are 5-0 against this squad, have been decided by just a run. So a real difficult challenge, and if you put your mind elsewhere, you're probably going to falter here at home. Riptide looking to jump on the board early with the 2-2 to Folds. Liner into shallow right field for a base hit. Navarro will be held up. So the right fielder Lamarzna gets it in, but it'll allow Folds to advance to second as he missed the cutoff man. So now 2 in scoring position as a couple of miscues from the Philippines early, but giving the Riptide an opportunity to take advantage.
Yeah, you definitely want to circle that one right there. If you're the Riptide, Folds with a bold send around first in that situation, but because that throw got over Chavez's head and kind of skipped into the rest of the infield, that allowed him to easily run in towards second base. Had they hit the cutoff man like you were talking about, could have been a very easy out at second base. They have now, of course, have to bring the infield in.
Basically given away 3 bases and an out already. If you're the Philippines, just 2 hitters in. Jarrett Sable got rolling with a 3-hit game yesterday. He swings and misses for strike 1. But Orange County needs him to get hot if the Riptide are going to make out any kind of noise in the postseason. He has been the engine for the Riptide offensively, especially in the month of June. But the 3-hit game yesterday, his first since June 25th. Behind in the count 0-2. As Cadino's going lefty-lefty and fooled him twice. Would love if you're the Riptide just to put 2 productive outs together, bring home Folds and Navarro, and take a 2-0 early lead. Sable trying to protect with 2 strikes. Fly ball to right field. It is deep, and it is way out of here. Jared Sable says, screw the productive outs. I'll go deep. 3-0 Riptide, 3 batters into this game.
Jarrett Sable scorched that one into right field. A no-doubt shot. The only hitter on the Riptide with multiple homers this season now just got the third for a 3-run shot. That's the first one he's had since June 25th when he was out on the road against the Barons. That one was absolutely barreled.
It's the first Riptide home run since June 25th. So Sable with back-to-back dingers for the Riptide, coming almost a month apart. And what a start, cashing in on the Philippines miscues. And another one, Reyes is plunked. Godino having a nightmare start to his evening. The Riptide, after a horrible finish, allowing 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th to lose to the Saints yesterday, a dream start tonight.
Yeah, this is easily one of the hotter starts that we've seen out of the Riptide, not just over this last week, but really over this last month in the first inning. It's kind of taken them a while to really get in towards the game. They obviously had that game against the Waves last week where they put up the 5 spot in the second, but they've had a lot of games where they've kind of been trailing early, so it's really good for them to get out to a hot start like they have tonight.
Connor Barth takes strike 1. And 3 already in, still nobody out here for the Riptide in the bottom of the first. And just the perfect beginning to terrible night. Here in the penultimate home game, the regular season, Barth behind 0-2 in the count.
Well, you talked about the heat wave that we have in Southern California, but that is actually helping the Riptide so far. You could see how well that ball is traveling. Yes, Jarrett Sable absolutely pulverized that baseball, but at the same time, the heat as well and the way the ball has been traveling is going to play a huge factor for pitching today.
Wyatt Lamarza in right field took about 5 steps after that ball and then realized it was not coming back. Ground ball towards shortstop. Tough play. It gets through Reister. 5 straight Riptide have reached to begin this game. And that'll prompt a visit to the mound for Will Picketts, trying to find some answer to get an Orange County hitter out.
Well, we talked about for the Riptide, the longest half inning they had, of course, was that first inning on June 19th against the Oaks of all teams, of course, where they brought 15 runners to the plate and scored 10. Mentioned that game against the Waves. They brought 11 up to the plate. Right now they brought 5 up to the plate, and all 5 have reached. So Riptide could potentially be, not trying to predict anything, of course. I'm no magician or psychic myself, but the Riptide have been off to an incredibly hot start here.
Well, this is definitely the response that you were looking for after a difficult loss yesterday. Dennis Fitzpatrick started the game quickly as well last night. Had a 2-run knock in the first inning over in Pasadena. And gets the start here at third base. First time he's done that this summer. Mostly at second base or DHing for Orange County. First pitch he sees, fastball in the other batter's box, 1-0.
Yeah, that was great to see, of course, for Fitzpatrick yesterday, get that 2-run knock to really open up that game, because he's been a guy who's been really trying to fight for playing time, somebody who is still in the portal, and has earned every right to be in the lineup tonight.
Trying to come through again and keep the line moving. 1-0 up and away. Nothing going right for Godino right now. Had the error from Reister to begin the game. Butterfly effect and all. Can only wonder what could have happened here for the Riptide if Reister had just made that play. They won't be complaining as Fitzpatrick takes one a little above the zone, 3-0 count. And still nobody warming in the Philippines bullpen. Of course, Godino only 6 batters into his game, but really, really struggling. The 3-0 to Fitzpatrick, yanked down, bases loaded. Tatum Marsh. The Riptide continue to take good plate appearances. Godino can't solve the puzzle yet.
Yeah, when you get into holes like this, it's hard to try to find confidence, and that was sort of what Godino was lacking in that at-bat right there. Didn't really throw that much of a competitive pitch to Fitzpatrick, who was able to work a rather easy walk.
Easy to lose confidence after giving up the home run to Jarrett Sable. 3-run shot, but all the runs on the board so far. The Riptide certainly not finished yet, as Godino's 5th straight ball makes it a 1-0 count to Marsh, who's hitting .254 this summer. Well, it took 9 innings. The Riptide scored just 2 runs against this Philippines team on Sunday. They've already got 3 on the scoreboard. If they can get the 2 runners in scoring position, Bart and Reyes in, they'll have scored more in the first inning than they've scored across the 2 last games combined against this Philippines team. What a shift offensively. The 2-0. Marsh taking all the way. Godino finally finds the strike zone. 2-1.
Yeah, you mentioned it, those last 2 games being decided by a run. The first 3 weren't really that close. They have that third matchup where the Philippines came back, but the Riptide pulled away. Those first 3 were decided by more than 5 runs, so it was a very different trend the last 2.
Riptide will be hoping for that broken bat up the middle. It gets through Reister again. His 2nd error of the inning makes it 5-0 Riptide. Both Barth and Reyes come home to score. Reister was thinking to get 2 and instead gets 0.
You almost wonder right there. Obviously, it's still a play that Reister can make and should have made in that situation, but the broken bat kind of flying in his direction, you almost wonder if that messed up his ability to kind of concentrate on the ball since the bat was rolling in the same direction from his eyesight. But nonetheless, the Riptide take advantage.
So Sean Romero, the 8th member of the Riptide lineup to come to the plate, still awaiting whether that'll be ruled a base hit or an error for Marsh. Certainly looked like a play that Reister should have made. First pitch to Romero, chopped towards second. This could be 2. Sells, flips to Reister for 1. Spin throw to first, not in time. But finally, the first out of the inning, as Romero's fielder's choice eliminates Marsh. Fitzpatrick goes to third on the play. And Alex Dolan, the number 9 man in the Riptide lineup, did not expect that he would be batting here in the first. The Riptide and Dolan certainly won't mind. It's Jarrett Sable's 3-run home run, combined with a couple of timely miscues from Johnny Reister at shortstop. Up the Riptide out. First pitch swinging, blooper down the line. It'll fall fair. Dolan's thinking 2. It's 6-0 Riptide as Fitzpatrick comes home. A Dolan double will flip the lineup around. Orange County's batted around here in the first inning. 6-0 and still just 1 down for Bradley Navarro.
Well, there's your daily double from Dolan right there. Didn't have to hit that one too hard. Just got his hands inside enough to keep that one fair down the right field line. But you were talking about Alex Dolan not thinking he was going to bat in the first. When Bradley Navarro came up and reached on that error, what felt like about 15 minutes ago, I bet he was not thinking he would come up in that same inning.
Oh, this inning has certainly escalated quickly. Godino still in this game as Eddie Garcia begins to warm in the Philippines bullpen. 2 more in scoring position. Navarro wastes no time. He pops it up on the infield. First baseman Chavez called off by the second baseman Sells, who makes the catch. Out number 2. Still a couple in scoring position for Brock Foltz. They have ruled the Marsh play an error by the shortstop Reister. So 3 of the 6 runs so far have been unearned. The Riptide not complaining. Just want to put up as much as you can early. First pitch to Folds. Little off the plate, 1-0 count. Orange County scored 10 in the bottom of the first, sent 15 to the plate against the Conejo Oaks back in June. Game they went on to win 12-2. Folds laces one towards center field. Espinoza moves over. Looks like he's camped under it. He'll make the catch. So the Riptide score 6 times on 11 batters coming to the plate here in the bottom of the first inning. The Jarrett Sable 3-run homer, the big swing. Orange County already cruising as we head to the second. Top of the second inning, presented by Chick-fil-A in the Woodbury Town Center. Well, after 4 hitters, the Philippines had the bases loaded with just 1 out. Looked like they might start this game quickly. Instead, Eric Rodriguez got back-to-back Ks of Damian Steck and Ethan Granillo to put up a big 0. The Riptide scored 6 times in the bottom of the first inning. The Jarrett Sable 3-run home run. And this game is in a different place than it was 20 minutes ago, Colin.
Absolutely. And, the Riptide have had moments this season where they have allowed teams to take advantage of errors. They've had 17 games in which they've made multiple errors. But they're also a team that capitalizes on errors like that as well. And you give one to Navarro to get the leadoff runner. And like you said, what this game could have been had they been able to get Navarro out to start that inning.
1-1 count here on Kai Nagashima, who's hitting just .056. Fouls that one off himself for strike 2. One and 2 count. Way up and in. That one bopped out of Rodriguez's hand a little bit early.
Yeah, I would say that one was just a bit outside. I know we had baseball
just
night
inside.
in Hollywood. Yeah, or
Just a
rather
bit inside.
inside, yes, but had to get the reference in there.
I like it. You got to do what you got to do. Looking for a 3rd straight strikeout. Instead, this one's cued off the end of the bat. Bounces toward Omaha, who, I guess on terrible night, Omaha retrieves bats for the other team.
Potentially, yeah. We'll have to see if Kai Nagashima will, depending on the result of this AB, if he puts one in play and drops the bat, if she'll go out and grab it.
Oh, I would love to get to see Omaha come out and work for the visitors, too. It's 2-2, strike 3. Nagashima swings at one that almost hits him. But Rodriguez with his 3rd straight K. That'll bring Caden Lewis to the plate.
Well, I think because we were saying if he puts it in play, I think we jinxed him right there.
Still got a couple more chances to see Omaha go get a bat. So often when you have these long half innings, it's difficult for a pitcher, but great response from Rodriguez to immediately get the first out. Puts himself ahead of Lewis, who's also hitting below 100, just .081. So there's 3 different players in this Philippines squad who aren't getting a hit once every 10 at-bats right now. 1-1 count now, but that's just such a tough recipe for success if you're the Philippines.
Yeah, that's been part of it. You give a lot of credit to their rotation, though. They've been able to stay in a lot of the games, though, because of how good their pitching staff has been, especially of late.
The 1-1 skied into shallow right field. Navarro camped under it. He'll fight the sun for out number 2.
As good, of course, as good as an outfielder as right there. You see Omaha grabbing the bat right there and going back over to our general manager, David Lamb, right there. So she does a really good job for the other team as well. I was going to mention for Navarro, you were talking about fighting the sun out there. It almost looked like he lost it for a second. Even with how good of an outfielder he is, it is a tough day out here battling the sun.
And this is a time the Riptide are not used to getting fly balls because, you had the 5 p.m. game the other day. The Riptide are out in the outfield about 5 p.m. for batting practice. So that's something they're used to dealing with. But here in this time window between 6 and 7 o'clock, Orange County tends to be in the dugout. They're not taking fly balls because the other team's, taking batting practice and the game's about to begin. So new time for them, but they're adjusting well as Lamarzna just misses an extra base hit inside the first base line. But instead it's 0-2 as Eric Rodriguez Jr. looks for a quick inning. Oh, 2. Fouled straight back into the backstop. And more good news for the Riptide. Over in Ventura, the Oaks currently trailing the Slow Blues 8-1. So the Riptide getting exactly the help that they are looking for. Orange County, these results hold, both of which are currently more than a 6-run difference, would take back position of the number 1 overall seed, could potentially clinch that number 1 seed as soon as tomorrow. The road game in Compton, the Oaks have a really tough trip to San Luis Obispo for sort of the return game against the Blues. Could see things go Orange County's way very quickly, depending on how the other games work out.
Yeah, it felt rather bleak for the Riptide yesterday with the Oaks beating the Barons in a more of a comeback effort through the middle innings, and then they, of course, are struggling there today, so it's amazing how things can change.
Fly ball into shallow center. Dolan comes in a couple steps, so 1-2-3 inning for Eric Rodriguez. Still 6-0 tied as we go to the bottom of the second. Bottom of the second inning, presented by First Class Pizza in the Woodbury Town Center. 6-0 Riptide. Half of those runs are thanks to this man, Jarrett Sable. His 3-run homer, full inning ago, over the right center field wall off Godino. Put the first 3 runs of the night on the board. He flies one high in the air, but it'll twist foul down the right field line. That one, if Sable had been able to stay back a little more, could have been his second homer in as many innings.
Yeah, I think he's seeing the ball pretty well.
Well, he said it felt good to get the first multi-hit game in almost a month. with 3 knocks yesterday. Homer here tonight. And Sable now in a 1-1 count. And that homer came with 2 strikes. I mean, Godino got ahead of Sable. It was a lefty-lefty, perhaps a difficult spot. But the DH had absolutely no problem dumping one over the right field fence. 1-1. Sable hammers one to deep right center field, more into that area, but it will hang up for Eric Espinoza, who runs onto the warning track. Jarrett Sable just missed his second home run of the evening already. A deep fly out instead for out number 1. That'll bring Alonso Reyes to the dish.
Yeah, for Jarrett Sable, a lot of the issues that he kind of had during that rough stretch was the fact that he was facing a lot of left-handed pitchers. So far today against Godino, he already hit a homer and nearly hit one of the warning track as well. So that's another good sight to see for him.
First pitch fastball below the zone. 1-0 count. Both Sable as well as the Riptide's other hitting all-star, Trajan Rogowski, have really struggled since the all-star break. And that's been a big part of why, since July started, Orange County really has not been the best version of themselves. Been playing about 500 ball all month. But their strong start to this summer gave them enough leeway to survive a stretch like that and still put themselves in a great position for the number 1 seed in the bye here in the CCL South. Rogowski out of the lineup today, but hopefully he can find his form the same way Sable has here across the final week. 1-1, grounder into right field. Nice job from Reyes. Just put one in between the first baseman Chavez and the second baseman Sells. And a 1-out knock will bring Connor Barth to the dish for the second time.
Yeah, and you mentioned sort of the mediocrity that the Riptide had. You mentioned the 8-1 start that they had as well. Since then, they've gone 16-14, but there was a stretch where they were 6-6 in July, 13-13 since that 8-1 start. And it was really just a lot of those wins they kind of had to eke out, like the last 2 they had against the Philippines. This is one of the rare times you've seen them really get ahead of a team early, like they were doing in that first part of the season.
Barth takes ball 1. 1-0 count. Riptide know how important this game is against the Philippines. It's their last against an affiliate squad all year, and they've really played great against these squads. They are 14-3 against teams that are not full-fledged CCL members. That's the 1-0 grounder back up the middle, off the mound. Reister steps on second for 1, throw to first for 2. So after a couple of errors in the first inning, helped the Riptide score 6 times. Johnny Reister turns the double play himself. Still 6-0 tied as we head to the third. Top of the third inning, brought to you by FanSafe. Scan the QR code on screen for more information. 6-0 Riptide as Eric Espinoza steps into the plate. Leadoff man for the Philippines walked to begin this game. The Philippines left the bases loaded in the top of the first. He swings and misses for strike one. Well, as part of our terrible night festivities, they've decided that they will not be running the scoreboard, so bear with us if we miss out on a count or two. We'll try and keep you folks at home updated, though. We're trying to do a good, not a terrible job. This one bounced to third. Nice job by Fitzpatrick. Throw to first in time. A tough hop for the man who usually plays second, but over at the hot corner, able to handle his first test for out number one.
Well, I can tell you who's not terrible with the glove, and that's Dennis Fitzpatrick right there. That one was a one-hopper that he kind of got on the run. He made that look a lot tougher than it actually is, or a lot harder than, you get what I mean.
He made it look easier.
Yes, I said it backwards. Terrible night. That's what I meant to do.
Of course. Ajani Reisters had a couple of errors in this game. Helped the Riptide score 6 times in the bottom of the first. He takes strike one. At the plate, Reister put a good swing on a ball. Hit it to the warning track in deep center. But Alex Dolan raced it down. So the 0-1 popped up in the air to shallow left field. Tatum Marsh moves over towards the line and makes the catch. 2 quick outs for Eric Rodriguez on just 4 pitches here. He is now set down 7 hitters in a row. You talked about it, Colin. Had to just get through that first inning. Settles into games a little bit, and he's done a great job here for the Riptide, looking to give them some length, especially with the big lead. You'd love if Rodriguez could save the bullpen and be able to use those arms potentially tomorrow on the road in Compton. First pitch fastball for strike one against Sells.
Yeah, and we talked about it pregame. This is sort of the stretch where it's all hands on deck for their rotation, where you're going to be stretching guys out longer than you have all season. And the middle innings and a lot of these starts for Rodriguez, he was 9 up, 9 down, 2 through 4 last time out.
0-1 bounced fair towards third base. The throw down in time. They will indeed rule that a fair ball. So a 6-pitch inning, it appears. Riptide don't exactly seem entirely sure of themselves, but they are heading off the field. And it is indeed 6-0 Riptide through 2.5. Bottom of the third inning, presented by Marucci, the official outfitter of the Orange County Riptide. Eddie Garcia into the game for the first time all summer. Pitched at Fullerton Community College, where he went 1-3 over 33 1/3 innings with an 8.37 ERA. Facing off against Dennis Fitzpatrick, Tatum Marsh, and Sean Romero here in the bottom of the third. Riptide up 6-0. First pitch to Fitzpatrick, grounder towards third. Bobbled by Nagashima. He hangs with it, though. His throw in time. So Kai Nagashima had it bounce off his chest, but kept it in front of him. And one pitch, one out for Eddie Garcia. Tatum Marsh reached on an error by the shortstop Ajani Reister. That brought home 2 runs. The Riptide scorched out to their quick lead. First pitch below the zone, 1-0 count. Looks like, is that Brandon Weiland, who's first base coaching here for the Riptide at the moment? I think that is Skippy, who's taken over in place of Andrew Ramos for this half inning. Looks like he's having some fun with the Philippines dugout. The 1-0 grounded again to Nagashima. He handles this one cleanly, throw to first in time. And a couple of 5-3 putouts to begin the bottom of the third. It's 2 down for Sean Romero. Made the first out of the game for the Riptide on a fielder's choice. Was eventually left at third.
I will say after that very long bottom of the first inning, both rotations have really settled in. And a huge credit, of course, to Nagashima. We know the two-way talent he has. He's made a couple nice plays here at third.
Yeah, he was the starting pitcher on Sunday when the Philippines narrowly lost to the Riptide 2-1. Orange County and Thomas Cernius walked it off in the bottom of the ninth. Here, the Riptide are hoping it doesn't quite need to come down to the dramatics. First pitch swinging, pop up by Romero. Foul territory over by first. Chavez has it. A 5-pitch inning for Eddie Garcia. Still 6-0 Riptide through 3. Top of the fourth inning, presented by Richardson, the official headgear provider of the CCL. Another inning for Eric Rodriguez. Riptide up 6-0 as Rodriguez faces the heart of the Philippines lineup. Isaiah Chavez swings through strike one, be followed by Damian Steck and Ethan Granillo. between innings here at the Great Park, there was toilet paper flying everywhere. They're on terrible night. Riptide fans were handed rolls of TP to attack other sections with. And it got a little crazy. There's still some toilet paper flying around. Not sure if our camera's catching that. As strike one comes in. Pardon me, strike two. It's a 0-2 count on Chavez, who singled up the middle to load the bases in the top of the first. But since then, 8 straight have been set down. It's a 1-2 count. Well, some of these festivities, Colin, have been really quite something. These kids are going at it. Rodriguez bounces one in, 2-2.
It's what happens when you allow younger kids who do things that their parents would get them in timeout for back at home.
Well, I'm just hoping we don't have to clean this up because this feels like it might be our job. It's the 2-2 misses down and away. 3-2 count.
I will say some of these kids definitely have a bright future in baseball. The velocity that is coming out of some of these may not be great for the fans that are sitting there, but perhaps if there's a scout watching.
Full count. Fly ball popped up out of play. Chavez getting under one and sends it out towards the parking lot to keep this plate appearance going. It's got to be difficult to concentrate right now if you're Eric Rodriguez. There's a lot going on. There's dogs barking, kids throwing toilet paper, but the 3-2 a little above the zone. And a full count walk for Isaiah Chavez. Philippines with their first hitter on since the first. Now Damian Steck to the plate.
Credit to Chavez right there. A very bold take right there on a full count pitch. It looked like it just missed down in the zone a little bit, but he's the only one that's been aboard both times for the Philippines now.
Both the batter's box and the mound in shade right now. So that pitch misses up and in for ball one. But there is a little bit of sunlight in between the mound and the plate. So ball's going to go dark to light and to back to dark. Makes it difficult on the hitters. Short lead for Chavez, being held on by Reyes at first base. Rodriguez behind in the count 2-0.
Yeah, the Riptide are going to run into situations with the lighting and the way the stadium is positioned that it will kind of affect the infield, specifically more the left side, being a little bit more exposed to the shade rather than the right side.
That misses off the plate. And after a full count walk to Chavez, Rodriguez has thrown 3 straight outside the zone to fall behind Damian Steck, who, while he does not yet have a base hit this summer, he has walked twice. .3-0, right down the middle, strike one.
Yeah, and for Rodriguez, you're in a situation where, yes, you look at the scoreboard and it's 6-0, but in his mind, it's a 1-0 game. Like, he knows the exact mentality he needs to have regardless of the lead and even being in a more comfortable position.
This 3-1 popped up in the air, foul territory over on the left side, not a play. Yeah, the only thing maybe if you're Rodriguez that the lead allows you to do is just trust your defense a little more, pitch to contact, and hope to get some quick outs and let your defense work for you. Don't want to try to be too fine and end up walking hitters like you did with Chavez to begin the inning, because that's how you lose a lead that's up, 6-0. You give up free base runners and an inning spirals. Great answer. Strike 3, 4th K of the night for Rodriguez. His second time getting Damian Steck as he battles back from a 3-0 deficit to get the K in the first out of the inning.
And right on cue there, Sam, you talk about it, just wanting to challenge hitters in that situation, knowing that you have a more favorable pitcher's park even during the day, but just trusting your defense, and challenged him right there, and he blew the express by him.
And Ethan Granillo was also a strikeout victim in the first. First pitch swinging, pop up on the infield. Second baseman Barth calls off the first baseman Reyes. 2 pitches, 2 outs. Exactly what Eric Rodriguez was looking for. Isaiah Chavez still on first after his leadoff walk. But now Kai Nagashima coming back to the plate.
Yeah, and Rodriguez has definitely, sometimes, like in basketball, seeing one go through the hoop. Sometimes just seeing one out go on the scoreboard kind of lets the rest of it flow smoothly.
First pitch to Nagashima, right on the outside half for strike one. Nagashima struck out to begin the second inning of this game. Well, he was part of a CCL team-to-team move. Began the summer with the Academy Barons, but he's moved to the Philippines baseball group. Barons a little bit more of a competitive squad. Perhaps Nagashima looking for more playing time. He's gotten the opportunity to both pitch and hit with this Philippines team. Might not have been able to have that happen in Compton. He's behind in the count 1-2 though, as Rodriguez finds the zone. For Eric Rodriguez, this is very similar to his last start through the first 4 innings. He'd just given up one unearned run tonight. No runs yet for the Philippines. But it was the 5th where things sort of fell away from Rodriguez. He allowed 4 runs in that inning. Bombers never looked back as they won last Friday here at the Great Park. See if the Riptide and Brian Evans allow Rodriguez to even go out for the 5th inning. But here trying to finish the 4th, the 2-2, he yanked off the plate for ball 3. Chavez, with his short lead, maybe can expand that a little more as Reyes moves off the bag. He'll get a head start on this pitch. Payoff pitch. Popped up, foul on the right side. Little bounce on top of one of the closed concession booths. We'll do it again. Well, quite the beginning to the evening. The Riptide scored 6 in the bottom of the first, highlighted by Jarrett Sable's 3-run home run. If you missed the first of this game. Bulk count walk from Nagashima, second of the inning. Puts runners on first and second for Caden Lewis with 2 down.
Well, you know, home plate umpire Xander Miller has had a very tight zone here, of course. There's not a lot of wiggle room on the outer halves of the plate, and he's kept that consistently for both teams. And a huge credit to the Philippines for sort of recognizing that and really trying to grind out these ABs and keep this inning alive.
Liam Thatcher, who started for the Riptide on Tuesday night, has faced the Philippines a couple times, and he talked about that actually makes them, in his opinion, one of the hardest teams to face. Even though that they have the lowest batting average in the CCL, he says he feels like they take really defensive swings. They're just trying to walk and get aboard and hope that you basically have an error or a misplay of some kind, whether it's a mistake pitch or an error by one of the infielders, and find their way on the board that way. And on cue, Caden Lewis plunked in the back. Without a base hit, the Philippines have loaded the bases for Wyatt Lamarzna. 2 walks, and now a hit by pitch. Not what you need if you're the Riptide up 6-0. Sean Romero will come to the mound to try to settle Eric Rodriguez down.
Yeah, obviously this mound visit, like you were talking about, just trying to kind of settle the nerves, understand the severity of the game for the Riptide, of course, but also want to make sure that him and his pitcher are on the same page. And in this situation, you've been able to show very good command for majority up until these last couple of batters. You kind of just want to get back onto that same page, trust your stuff, challenge hitters, and then let your defense do the work.
So Wyatt Lamarzna hitting under 120 this summer. Takes ball 1. Lamarzna flew out to center field to end the top of the second inning. His only plate appearance today. Philippines have already left him loaded in the first. If you're going to rally back, you can't afford to do it again. Lamarzna up 2-0 after holding back on that swing. If you're Rodriguez, just want to go after him here. If he beats you, he beats you. Lamarzna's done a good job of taking walks this summer. He takes strike 1 here, 2-1 count. The right fielder has 10 free passes to just 6 strikeouts in his 16 games. The 2-1 popped up in the air, should stay on the infield. Connor Barth runs out, couple steps onto the grass and makes the catch. For the second time, Eric Rodriguez works himself into and back out of a bases-loaded jam. Still 6-0 Orange County through 3.5. Bottom of the fourth inning, brought to you by Fairmont Schools in San Juan Capistrano. Alex Dolan already has an RBI double today. He's looking for more here to begin the bottom of the fourth inning. Riptide up 6-0. Dolan will be followed by Navarro and Folds. The lineup flips over. First pitch swing, lifted into left center field. Lewis moves over, and he drops it. Bounces off his glove. It rolls all the way to the warning track. Dolan's going to think about three and get there standing. Third error of the night for the Philippines. This one a three-base miscue, as left fielder Caden Lewis had it bounce off of his glove in the gap. Just everything going the Riptide's way right now.
Well, you had a really good outing, of course, from Eddie Garcia in the third 1-2-3 effort. And that only took him 5 pitches, so it's through 6 pitches he had seen 4 batters, and could have been his 4th out right there. But like we said, the sun and the shade has definitely played a factor, especially in left field. You look at center field and right field, perfectly in the sun. Left field's still kind of battling some of those shades over there.
Philippines down 6-0 will bring the infield in against Navarro. Takes strike one at the knees. Orange County looking to take advantage of the third error of the night for the Philippines. After playing some of their best baseball over the last week and a half, this PBG squad really struggling here at the Great Park. Count evens up at 1-1 as Garcia misses below the zone. It has gone final. San Luis Obispo beats Conejo in Ventura 10-3. A massive result for the Riptide. If they can hang on to this 6-0 lead, they go back into the driver's seat for the number 1 overall seed and the elusive first round bye that comes with it. The Oaks will travel to San Luis Obispo tomorrow for a really tough task. If the Riptide can take advantage of perhaps 2 Blues wins over the Oaks in as many days, Brian Evans might have to bring some flowers as Navarro lifts one to deep right field. It'll bounce up against the wall. Navarro's got extra bases. Dolan jogs home to score. Bradley's thinking 3. Throw to third is not in time. Triple to right. After a 3-base error from Dolan, Navarro earns his way to third. It's 7-0 Orange County, with another run just 90 feet away for Brock Folds.
Boy, did the Riptide miss having Bradley Navarro at the top of the order. This may be just his 6th game, but this is already his 5th at the top of the order for the Riptide, and that's exactly what he does. Don't underestimate the lack of homers that he hits, because he really almost is a 5-tool player.
The infield stays in for the Philippines with Folds at the plate. Just to finish the thought, I would love to see Brian Evans bring up a gift basket of some kind to the Blues if San Luis Obispo is able to keep helping the Riptide out. Orange County will make the trip up to SLO on Sunday for what, depending on how these next few days go, could either be a very meaningful or a very fun game, or both, depending on the results. So Brock Folds, 1 for 2 today with a single and a flyout. They both came in the first inning. Liner up the middle, base hit. 8-0 Riptide. Navarro jogs home as Folds laces one right back up the middle past Garcia. And the Riptide continue to add on with 2 more runs already and still nobody out here in the bottom of the 4th.
And you think about it for the Riptide, this inning, of course, started with an error. And they're a team that really kind of capitalizes off of it. And this is the after effects of what you're seeing when that happens. The Riptide get a boat of confidence to start the inning after having a really quick 1-2-3 effort from their bats. And right there, Brock Folds was seeing red at that AB, and he lined it right back up the middle.
2 big swings already today for Jarrett Sable. One a 3-run homer, the other a fly ball to the warning track in right center. He takes ball 1 from Eddie Garcia. First time he's facing the right-hander is the first 2 at-bats of the night for Sable came against the starter Jacob Gudino, who just worked the first 2 innings, gave up 5 hits, 6 runs, 4 of which were earned, a walk, and no strikeouts. The 1-0 to Sable on the outside half. Count evens up at 1-1.
Well, that terrific 3-hit game that he had yesterday at Arroyo Seco is clearly carried over. You mentioned the multi-hit games. That was his first since June 25th at MLB, which we know what he did in that game as well, what he just did here tonight with a homer.
Well, how about a second hit here and a second multi-hit game? This one's flared into shallow left center field. Espinoza moves from right center into left to make the catch. And the first out of the inning will bring up Alonso Reyes. Alonso Reyes was hit by a pitch and scored in the first, singled in the second. Looking for another knock here. Reyes has really come up with clutch hit after clutch hit for the Riptide this summer. Had another big one on Tuesday against the Saints when he doubled in a run to tie the game. So the Riptide rallied back from a 3-run deficit. They then, of course, blew a 4-run lead yesterday in Pasadena. They're hoping that tonight will be a little bit of a different story. Already up 8-zip. As Reyes grounds one into right field. Exact same thing he did in his previous at-bat. Just a little roller between first and second. Sells, dives, but can't get to it. And there's 2 aboard for Connor Barth.
You can say it's officially an offensive onslaught here for the Orange County Riptide. They are seeing the ball well, and they're not barreling everything, but they're hitting the ball well, and they're driving it through all different parts of the field. They're playing like a true gap-to-gap hitting team right now.
8 hits already here in the bottom of the 4th for the Riptide. Of course, the 8 runs on the board. Couple more ducks on the pond for Barth, who fouls one back into the netting. Connor already has a base hit and a run today. Had 3 knocks on Tuesday against Arroyo Seco before the off day yesterday. So Connor Barth looking to stay hot as the postseason approaches. Garcia checks, folds at second, delivers the pitch below the zone. Count evens up at 1-1. Long pause for Garcia. His pitch misses below the zone again. Barth ahead in the count now. Feels like Connor Barth at second base is the thing you can count on mostly every day when the Riptide lineup comes out from Brian Evans. He has just been a fixture over there. Played good defense at second all year. His bat's been a great presence in this lineup. So he fouls one off down the right field line and over the Philippines bullpen. Committed to South Carolina Upstate after a great year for Folsom Lake. He's been contributing for the Riptide all summer long as well.
Yeah, and you think about how long a summer is, especially summer ball, when some guys have to go right away and play fall ball, especially if they are on a semester system. It's so hard to get one guy to be consistently there for you night in and night out.
Barth reaches out and just pokes one into right field, an opposite field single. They will send Folds. The throw to the plate is going to be late. Reister cut it off. Not sure if he had to. Looked like Brock Folds had to hold up to make sure the soft liner from Barth got in at all. But the Riptide will take it. It's 9-0. Reyes goes first to third on the play. Connor Barth, he reached out, and that ball was in the other batter's box.
That's how you know you're seeing the ball well. We know that Connor Barth, especially entering the start of July, had a really rough stretch at the plate, but his glove was keeping him in that lineup all the time. But he sort of hit a switch. He's been working so hard in the cages, working on hitting the ball to opposite field, just like he did right there.
He went out and got that one. Corners come in, still just 1 down for Dennis Fitzpatrick. So they check over towards Barth at first. Fitzpatrick with a walk and a run today, as well as a ground out so far. Whenever you're getting your 3rd plate appearance in the 4th inning, things are going well, especially if you're in the middle of the lineup like Fitzpatrick is. The scoreboard here on Terrible Night says that Dennis Fitzpatrick is just a chill guy, and I have to agree. one of the nicest guys on this Orange County squad. Always seems happy to do whatever's asked of him, whether it's playing once a week or 6 times. He is always there. It's the 1-0. Barth steals, and the catcher, Steck, had some trouble getting it out of his mitt. So another 2 in scoring position now as Barth moves up 90 feet. And a chance for the Riptide to get into double digits. The error by the left fielder Lewis on Alex Dolan started this inning off. The Riptide have definitely taken full advantage of the miscue, followed by a triple from Navarro, a single from Folds. Sable did fly out, but then back-to-back singles from Reyes and Barth, and the stolen base to get 2 in scoring position and a 2-0 count for Fitzpatrick. Everything coming up Riptide again here in the bottom of the 4th. Fitzpatrick takes strike 1.
And you talk about the overall team effort. There's 5 different hitters in this lineup now that have their own RBI hit to their name. So this isn't just one person doing it all for the Riptide. It is stretched all across the top and bottom of the order.
That's how you win in the postseason. 2-1. Fitzy grounds one to shortstop. Reister has it. He'll throw to first. It's his only play. It's offline. It'll get away from Chavez. Reyes came home to score already, but Barth takes third on the error from Reister. 4 errors already for the Philippines. That'll prompt a visit to the mound. See if Eddie Garcia stays in this game.
You know, you thought about it, of course, at the start of the inning when Dolan hit that a little above average routine play to left field. He hit it a little bit, about 10 or 15 feet in front of the warning track. So it was hit well, but that drop in left field from Lewis, you thought about it, the first inning started off with an error and what it kind of ballooned to, but the string of success that the Riptide have been able to replicate from that has really been what's been very impressive about that as well.
Well, eerily similar if you're the Philippines. In both the top of the 1st and the top of the 4th, they loaded the bases and left them loaded. Had 2 errors in the bottom of the 1st. The Riptide scored 6 times. Already a couple of miscues here in the bottom of the 4th. Riptide already have 4 on the scoreboard and still just 1 out for Tatum Marsh. Marsh is 0 for 2 today. Did drive home a couple of runs on an error back in the 1st. Fitzpatrick runs. Pitch down and in for ball 1. Dennis takes second. Brian Evans not content with this 10-run lead. He stays aggressive and puts a couple in scoring position once again. One out of Marsh. Waits on the off-speed, takes strike 1.
You talk about things being eerily similar as well for the Philippines team. You mentioned that they loaded the bases in the 1st and the 4th. We also talked about they went 6 up, 6 down in innings 2 and 3. So they've nearly replicated what they've done twice in this game.
1-1. Marsh liner back up the middle, base hit. Another run comes home for the Riptide as Barth jogs home. Fitzpatrick will be held at third. 11-0 Orange County. They are on the verge of batting around for the 2nd time in 4 innings. Sean Romero, the 9th member of the Riptide lineup to come to the plate. First pitch to Romero, above the zone, 1-0 count. This is just unbelievable stuff from the Riptide. The response that you were looking for after the toughest loss they've suffered all summer. Romero pops this one up. See if it stays in play. First baseman Chavez, as well as the catcher Steck, will both give it a look. It'll fall in between them. Been that kind of night.
Yeah, I almost wasn't sure if it hit the net at first, but I think that one just dropped straight in between them. There just wasn't any communication right there between Steck and Chavez right there. And the Riptide have taken advantage of little things off of errors and really ballooned it to the lead it is right now. And for Sean Romero, we know he's been struggling with the bat this last really home stretch of the regular season here. He has another chance to really prove himself this at bat.
Competing for time as a catcher. Played against the Philippines on Sunday. It was just his third game all month. Got a 1 hit, but also struck out twice. Fly ball towards right field. Lamarzana moves over towards the line to make the catch. Fitzpatrick tagging, sprinting home. The throw is up the line. It'll bounce away from the catcher's stick. That'll allow Marsh to move to second. 12-0 Riptide. Yet another error, the 5th of the game through just 4 innings for the Philippines. Puts Tatum Marsh in scoring position for Alex Dolan, whose fly ball that was dropped by Caden Lewis in left started this whole inning off. Riptide have put 6 on the scoreboard for the second time tonight.
And you gave Sean Romero a second chance right there as well, and he capitalized on it. He didn't exactly barrel it, but he got under it a little bit more and drove it out deep enough for a sac fly, and then just more miscues with the gloves for the Philippines gets him another runner in scoring position.
Dolan swings and misses at Garcia's offering down and in. 0-1 count. Zach Woodson has come out on deck in the place of Bradley Navarro. Looks like Coach Evans making some changes early in this game. The Riptide up big. Dolan cracks one towards center field. It'll hang up for Espinoza, who sprints in to make a nice play. Riptide score 6 times again. 12-0 through 4 in Irvine. The top of the 5th inning is brought to you by Rome Beer. New pitcher into this game for the Riptide, Andrew Parker. He's got a 12-run cushion to play with as he faces the top of the Philippines lineup, Eric Espinoza, Ajani Reister, and Braden Sells. Parker has pitched just twice for the Riptide this summer. In those 2 innings, he's allowed 1 run. Had his first scoreless frame against the Bombers last Friday. First pitch swinging, chopper towards Folds. It'll be a nice play. Throw to first in time. Special stuff from Brock Folds at shortstop, handling the high hop and making a nifty play. And I got to give the do where it is. Some changes have been made defensively for the Riptide. That's Matt Nako at shortstop. So a heck of a play from Akko. Apologies there, Madden. That was a really nice play. Thomas Cernius is checked in at first base as well. As Reister swings and misses through strike one. Looks like Zach Woodson's taken over in right field. See if any other changes are made for the Riptide. Tatum Marsh still in left and Alex Dolan in center. So it appears to be just those three. The pitch misses off the plate, 1-1 count.
Well, I will say, Madden Akko, like a couple other players on this team, came in with a fresh haircut today, and he's showing the diamond defense as well. And Fitzpatrick nearly caught one in foul territory right there as well. He almost looked like he was going to extend out right there, but it was in kind of that awkward phase where it was kind of against the other opposite shoulder, so he couldn't quite reach out.
Yeah, don't want to risk injuring yourself, and especially up 12-0. Not exactly the time to risk anything if you're Fitzpatrick and the Riptide. 1-2, just misses outside. 2-2 count to Reister. So again, the defensive changes for the Riptide. Madden Akko takes over for Brock Folds at shortstop as Reister swings and misses. So 2 quick outs for Andrew Parker. So he deals with Espinoza, the ground out. Reister with the K. Akko at shortstop. Zach Woodson in right. Thomas Cernius at first base here. It's the Riptide up big and making some changes. New hitter at the plate, Braden Sells. Sells is 1 for 2 today. Had an infield single. And then grounded out to third base. The 1-0 from Parker, lifted into shallow left field. It'll fall in for a base hit. Second knock for Sells, who extends the inning. That'll bring Isaiah Chavez to the dish. Chavez has reached both times he's come to the plate. A walk and a single so far for the first baseman. Parker working with the big lead. The first 2 quick outs, just looking to keep things going and have another nice frame. Just get the Riptide bats that have been so hot back up as soon as possible.
You talk about the slew of defensive changes as well. You have Hunter Harrington now in center field for Alex Dolan.
There you go. Good eyes, Colin. Appreciate you grabbing that. Nice to see Hunter get an opportunity to play down the stretch. The fastball above the zone, 1-1 count. So 4 defensive changes for the Riptide. Swing and a miss for strike 2. It's a 1-2 count on Isaiah Chavez. This one's popped up over towards the right side, over where our analytics department sits. They've been doing a great job all year long. Of all these Riptide interns, always fun to get to shout out various departments and all the good work they do here at the Great Park.
Absolutely, and I can tell you they've been working overtime here tonight. It's been a lot to input.
Yeah, they've been quick at-bats for the most part, but high action. It's the 1-2 misses just a bit off the plate, 2-2 count. Andrew Parker looking to work around the 2-out single from Braden Sells. Get the Riptide to the halfway point in this game. Up big. The 2-2 just above the zone. 3-2 count. Couple of collective groans from the press box next to us. They can't believe that pitch missed.
Yeah, home plate umpire Xander Miller has definitely kept that tight zone, and Mentioned it earlier, he's done it to both teams. He's really making sure the pitchers have to earn their strikes.
3-2, runner goes, it's ball 4. Sells getting the head start with the 3-2 count and 2 outs, and he'll just jog into second. It's now 2 aboard for Damian Steck, who's 0 for 2 with a couple of Ks today. Steck again looking for his first hit of the summer. Had a hard time with the Riptide starter Eric Rodriguez, who works 4 solid innings, gives up just 2 hits, no runs, couple of walks, and 4 strikeouts. He worked out of 2 bases loaded jams, and he got plenty of run support.
That would be an understatement for sure.
This one's popped up on the right side. It'll get out of play. Count evens up at 1-1.
Well, and we know in his last outing that he had on his start against the Bombers last Friday, they tried to get him out into the 5th, and it was kind of a struggle. He had just allowed the 1 unearned run through the first 4 innings and went 9 up, 9 down in the 2nd through the 4th as well. But in a situation like this, you want to be able to just get as many reps as you can for all of your pitchers, as well as we're seeing with defensive changes as well.
On the Riptide, know they have 3 games against really solid opponents, as that strike 2, 1-2 count. You got the difficult trip to the Academy, where the Riptide are yet to win a game this year, tomorrow. They host their final regular season home game against the Arroyo Seco Saints, a team that just beat them yesterday on Saturday, and then the road trip up to SLO, one of the best teams in the CCL North, on Sunday. So this may be your final chance. If you're a guy like Hunter Harrington, who's sort of been a extra player for those Riptide squad, hasn't exactly gotten night in, night out starts, to get an opportunity to play in front of this great park crowd and get some collegiate innings under his belt before he heads off to Stanford in the fall. 2-2 from Parker. Weakly chopped towards third. It'll go foul before Fitzpatrick gets to it. Still takes the opportunity to throw off his arm. Had the play where it appeared the ball might have just trickled foul, but Fitzpatrick threw it anyway. Our home plate umpire, Xander Miller, believed it had stayed fair, so it resulted in an inning-ending out. So heads up from Fitzpatrick to make sure to finish the play anyway, just in case.
Yeah, you talk about a lot of things that are eerily similar. That was almost another situation in which would have ended a 2nd inning as well. We've seen a lot of crazy things happen here tonight.
It has been an evening to remember for the Riptide, and here on Terrible Night, it has been far but terrible on the field. There's plenty of good moments. This one hit hard down the left field line, but it's going to head foul. Steck sends one a long ways, but a little bit out in front of Parker's offering, and it's still a 2-2 count.
And I will say, I believe that landed in the tree just to the left of the foul pole. So I believe that one would have had the distance had he kept it fair. And put a charge into that one, was just out in front of it.
You know what Parker's saying? Saying strike 2, no problem.
A foul ball is a foul ball indeed.
No matter how loud it is off the bat. The 2-2. Another one cranked. This one Steck's out further in front of. A little bit of mind games there, thinking, hey, I was out in front of the off-speed. They throw me another off-speed pitch, or am I going to time it up? And Parker went off-speed again, and Steck was sitting fastball. So he just whipped his bat head to the ball. The 2-2 curves into the zone, and it's just above the plate. Xander Miller stood up like he was about to pump for strike 3. But instead, a full count to Damian Steck. Both runners, Chavez and Sells, will get a jump as Parker's ran into some trouble here with 2 outs in the top of the 5th. The 3-2 hits Steck. He stuck out his arm, though. Are they going to call him out? That could have been ball 4, and Steck stuck out his arm, got hit by the pitch instead. It'll be a strike 3. Another ridiculous inning here on Terrible Night. 12-0 tied through 4.5. Colin Costigan and our director, Michael Herrera, are going to hop on the mic the rest of the way.
This bottom of the 5th inning is brought to you by Sign Design. Well, nearly an hour and 45 minutes later, we have officially hit the halfway point of a game between the Riptide and Philippines that, by no short of any estimation, has been all Riptide here in this one. It's a new arm out for the Philippines. Enrique Hernandez, number 29, the right-hander, fires a strike on the inner half to Zach Woodson, who took over for Bradley Navarro in right field. He'll be followed by Madden Akko, who took over for Brock Folds at short in the top half of the 5th. He is on deck. Jarrett Sable is due up in the hole, but it appears they have Nate Pone warming up. It's an 0-1 count from Zach Woodson. That one is way high and wide. It's a 1-1 count. Well, I'm joined alongside our director and producer and broadcaster, a man of many talents, and Michael Herrera. Michael, thank you so much for joining in on us tonight. And, you know, this is a eerily similar game. We've seen a lot of repetitions, 2 6-run spots for the Riptide. There's been 2 innings where the Philippines have left runners on base. We had 2 plays that were foul balls. One went fair, one went foul. You almost wonder what comes next in this one. We'll see on the 1-1. That one's high and straight to the backstop just to add to the point.
I mean, for our general manager here, David Lamb, I'm sure he's very happy with what he's seeing tonight, in the spirit, of course, the theme night being terrible night, but just been a display of dominance by the Riptide. I mean, all around, and not only for one, your players, again, getting the confidence as they head into what is going to be their most important stretch of the season as the end of the season nears. Before, again, like you mentioned, even Sam Evans mentioned before me, Hunter Harrington, guys like that who can get off the bench, who can provide something to show Coach Meyer, to show Coach Evans, hey, we can count on these guys into the final stretch and into the playoffs. So not only for them as just good momentum and good energy to get a big blowout one like this, but for the guys that, you know, have something to prove a little bit, it's good to see them getting some playing time as well.
Well, Zach Woodson, another one of those guys who's trying to take advantage of some more playing time. This is officially game number 21 for him. He just fouled one over the Riptide bullpen that was so incredibly unfazed at the ball that went 5 feet over their heads. It's a 2-2 count. But for Zach Woodson, comes in hitting .263 with 5 RBIs and 10 runs across his previous 20 games. He has seen this Philippines team very well. Through the 2 games, he is 4 for 9, but most importantly has 5 RBIs. Last time he saw this Philippines team was on the 5th of this month. He went 3 for 5, 2 RBIs, and 4 runs scored. He had a 2-run single in the 8th inning. That was part of that 15-9 victory. They made it a 12-9 game after the Philippines battled back. They were down by as many as 5 in that game. They tied it at 9, but the Riptide pulled away. It's a 2-2 count. Enrique Hernandez drops in a slider, but it missed down low. It runs full.
Yeah, and like you mentioned there, Colin, again, that game almost as good as done, but the Philippines baseball group able to, again, have some fight in them, show some promise, and that's something for the Riptide tonight here. You can't get complacent. I mean, sure, it's very hard to believe that you could blow a 12-run lead, but not only for the stats of these guys, again, on the field, just that momentum, the energy, the mentality, the mental side of baseball, having just not being complacent, being able to get down and put some good baseball on the field.
Well, that was a heck of a play out there. You talk about the effort from the Philippines. In left field, Caden Lewis running to his right on a weakly hit ball off the bat of Zach Woodson, dove in there and caught it, kind of sliding feet first to get a quick first out here in the bottom of the 5th, and a much-needed one at that after that bottom of the 4th. That'll now bring up Madden Akko, who we already saw a very terrific play at short when he took over for Brock Folds in the top half of the 5th. That was off the bat of Eric Espinoza, trying to provide that spark here with the bat. That one is close, but as we mentioned for home plate umpire Xander Miller, a very tight zone. It's a 1-0 count now to the rising senior infielder out of Los Angeles, California. This is game number 6 for him this season. He's hitting just 83s, 1 for 16 on the season. He's trying to just get those reps like you're talking about. He's ahead 1-0 right now from Enrique Hernandez. Fires that one down and in, a 2-0 count. And Madden Akko, like we were talking about, one of those guys that has a fresh fade now with the haircut. Almost didn't recognize him during batting practice today. Perhaps he's trying to change things up a little bit, get a little bit more mojo going. We saw it work with the glove in the top of the 5th. It's ahead 2-0 right now. Winds and fires that one straight back in towards the backstop, 3-0. Might not need to swing the lumber here.
Yeah, and for Enriquez, we good for him to get back-to-back good outings, at least against the Riptide. His last time out was against the Riptide on the 19th. Went 1 inning, had 2 walks, but did also end up getting a K. So for him, again, for the Philippines baseball group, needing some length, and hopefully Enrique Hernandez, can provide that for them.
Trying to find the strike zone here, but that one is pulled out of the batter's box. So it's a easy 4-pitch walk for Madden Akko. He's aboard here with a walk for the Riptide. Amongst all the chaos today, just their second walk here tonight. Their first since the first inning. Now for the slew of pinch hitters, Jarrett Sable was DHing tonight. He'll get pinch hit here in the bottom of the 5th for Nate Pone. Nate Pone, who has been an incredible bat. He's been a true 5-tool player for the Riptide. This is now game number 18. First one he sees is a slider that is inside. It's a 1-0 count. He had probably his worst day at the plate yesterday. He was 0 for 4 at Arroyo Seco, all punch-outs in that game. Not something he has normally done. He's in the midst of an 0 for 10 stretch across his last 3 appearances. Trying to change that here in a low-leverage spot. It's a 1-0. That one skipped in the dirt. It's a 2-0 count. But Nate Pone has been one of those guys that has been used in the outfield and left. He's been used behind the dish. He's DH'd. He's come in to pinch run, and he's come in to pinch hit.
Yeah, whatever you ask of Pone, he will gladly, with a smile, accept that. And just, again, adding to this gluttony of catchers that this Riptide organization has had, not only all summer, but especially, again, towards the latter half of this season, towards the playoffs, feels like one of these catchers are going to come up huge. And, again, we're still a few days away from the playoffs, but I'm calling my shot early, Colin. I think we're going to see one of these catchers with a big hit in the playoffs for the Riptide.
The Riptide are definitely spoiled with their bats behind the dish as well. That one was fired over the heart of the plate. A 2-1 count. Pone's still ahead. Akko leading off at first with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. That 2-1 does catch the outer half. It's a 2-2 count. A very nice slider right there from Hernandez. And for Hernandez, this, of course, his 4th appearance, has gone just an inning and 2/3. While that ERA is at 37.8, he lowered it from 94 with that clean inning that you talked about on the 19th here against the Riptide. Trying to put up a spotless inning here. That 2-2 instead thrown 58 feet into the dirt, and Madden Akko will advance up to second. And just like that, the Riptide have another runner in scoring position for already the 3rd inning here tonight.
And for a guy like Hernandez, and again, and for a PBG team that's out of it, of course, as far as the CCL playoffs goes, it's the small wins that matter. And for a guy like Hernandez, again, coming in looking for a good outing, if he can, again, find the zone, find the command a little bit, certainly just that small win for him to be able to take, again, steps forward of showing some of the signs of improvement there on the mound.
It's a full count now. Hernandez delivers. That one's hit hard on the ground over towards short to Reister. Picks it up, fires it just in time to get Nate Pone at first. A nice recovery over there from Reister. That will allow Madden Akko to move up to 3rd. There's now 2 away here in the bottom of the 5th. Now you hear Volver, as most people know who that is by, of course. I know my fellow broadcaster to my left here, Michael Herrera, knows who that is. But for the Riptide, that means Thomas Cernius comes up to the dish. He's pinch hitting here for Lonzo Reyes. Of course, he took over at first base back in the top of the 5th.
Yeah, never want to diss the guy, but I mean, our guy, Sam Evans, did not know who Vicente Fernandez was. And again, like you mentioned, it seemed like didn't really feel like ball knowledge. But again, Sam just with not the greatest of pulls from a guy who, again, has been impeccable all summer.
You know, that pitch did miss outside a 1-0 count, but what's more disheartening for me is that he grew up in Chula Vista, a very well-known Hispanic community, and I'm just, I'm kind of baffled by that. But, not everybody can know.
I mean, it's just bad form, Colin, when you get down to it.
It's a 1-0 count now. Hernandez waits, fires the 1-0. That one a big cut and a miss right there from Thomas Cernius. Trying to send that one to Tustin. It's a 1-1 count still. This is game number 21 for Thomas Cernius. He comes in hitting .268 with 12 RBIs. Did not play on the road yesterday. Was 0 for 4 here on Tuesday against the Saints. Waits for the 1-1. Hernandez fires, and that one is hit hard past the netting and way deep into the Irvine night. It's a 1-2 count now to Cernius. Hernandez still waiting for his sign from his catcher, Damian Steck. Now has it, brings the glove at his waist. Leg kick, fires the 1-2. That one is golfed out in towards left center, slicing in. That'll drop in for an RBI base knock. Thomas Cernius brings home another Riptide run. They have their biggest lead of the entire season. It is 13-0 here in the bottom of the 5th.
I mean, Thomas Cerny is just a guy that you're not going to keep down for long. His last start, of course, came this past Tuesday here at the Great Park. He went 0 for 4 with the K against those Saints. And Cerny is a guy, again, you put him in the lineup, he's going to find his way. He's going to come through some way or another. Again, just to talk about just a great hit, too. Didn't try to do too much, didn't pull it, just takes it up the middle where no one's at.
Yeah, and it had the right hit on it, too, because you saw the way that the bat head went out, and it sort of sliced away from Eric Espinoza in center field. That's how you know you timed it up nicely on an away offering. First one from Hernandez to Barth now. That slider popped out of the hand a little late, goes down in the dirt. It's a 1-0 count. Talk about providing the spark and really being there for the Riptide. We know Sam Evans mentioned it. Well, for Connor Barth, this is going to be his 23rd game at second base, rather, for them. This is his 7th game batting in the 5th order, and interestingly enough, the Riptide are 6-0 when he bats 5th. The 1-0, big cut and if miss, and rather gets just a piece of that, but it's a 1-1 count regardless.
Again, Colin, I mean, it sounded like a broken record at this point, but for Coach Evans, for this entire coaching staff for the Riptide, it's so important to get finalized guys where you know you want them to be. Define the identity both on the field, defensively, in the lineup, where you're going to be 1 through 9, who you're going to go to in the pitching staff 1 through 9. For this pitching staff and this coaching staff to kind of slowly formalize and finalize their plan for the playoffs is going to be huge for them, as this team is, honestly, you guys have coined them the rally tide this entire season. That has been their identity. They can rally from anything, and as if they can continue to hold that identity through the entirety of the playoffs, we could see a very deep run here from this team, Colin.
That 1-1 was dropped down a little low. It's a 2-1 count. Well, the Riptide definitely won't need to rally from behind tonight, but they have done that all season. You talked about the now 14 come from behind victories. Most recently, their one on Tuesday night against the Saints, which they came back from 4-1 deficit midway through that one. It's a 2-1 count now. Hernandez waits for the sign to his catcher Steck. Fires the 2-1. That one's dropped in the dirt, so 3-1 count. Well, just 24 hours ago, we were talking about, it was very bleak for the Riptide. The Barons had lost and did not help the Riptide out in their game against the Oaks. They gained further. The Riptide blew their biggest lead they had all season in the bottom of the 8th inning, gave up the most amount of runs they had given up all season, easily one of their most crushing defeats to a team that in the Saints that are still fighting for their playoff lives. It's a 3-1, though, to Connor Barth. That one is on the outer half. A close pitch does get the call. It's a 3-2 count. You talk about that change in the 24 hours since then. The Blues dominate the Oaks tonight, and then the Blues get to host them at home tomorrow. And if they lose that one, with the Riptide presumably being able to hold on to this one, they go out and get that victory against the Barons tomorrow. They have officially clinched the #1 seed. Crazy what a 24-hour span and the home stretch can get you.
I mean, that's baseball sometimes, right there, Colin. Obviously, like you mentioned, the job's not done yet, but definitely feels like inning by inning, hour by hour across this entire weekend, the Riptide will slowly find rooms to breathe a little bit more and get a little bit of breath of fresh air, a little stress off their shoulders again in these final few games.
Cernius will go on the rather full count offering, and instead it's going to be a swinging strike right there. Did pop out of the glove, but did not make contact. A punch out there on Connor Barth's half. Finally ends the bottom of the 5th inning. The Riptide snag another run. They lead 13-0. We'll head to the top of the 6th. This top of the 6th inning is brought to you by the Russell Legal Group. Well, it's been an offensive onslaught, and it's been entirely one-sided here tonight. The Riptide have their largest lead of the entire season, 13-0 over the Philippines Baseball Group. A new arm for the Riptide, and A.J. Frausto fires a fastball way up and in, a little bit of chin music to greet Ethan Granillo, who's 0 for 2 in this one tonight, struck out swinging in the first and popped out to Connor Barth in the fourth. 1-0 from Frausto. That one is way inside. It's a 2-0 count. Frausto trying to find the command a little bit here through these first couple pitches. This is his 11th appearance, just a 1 start on the season still. Through 18 2/3 innings of work, has a 5.79 ERA, 18 punch-outs to 11 walks. That 2-0 gets Granillo to line it straight back in towards the crowd, and heads up. That one bounced off the top deck right there and rolled up in towards the analytics interns over there. That ball had a vision all the way. It's a 2-1 count. Of course, for A.J. Frausto, in that game against the Waves the last time out, get a little bit more after that 2-1, and that one is lined straight back to us. If there wasn't a couple layers of protection with the netting and the glass here, we for sure would have caught that one up here.
You know, Colin, I don't know if you're going to be on radio or not this upcoming Saturday, the final home game, of course, for regular season home game, of course, for the Riptide. But if you are, I wish you the best in catching a foul ball. We haven't had any broadcaster luck so far this season. Hopefully, you finally find some.
Well, that 2-2 blows the express by Granillo for the first out here in the top of the 6th. Well, our fellow broadcaster Aiden Pham yesterday out at Arroyo Seco had one that went about 5 feet over his head, because it is an open field over at Jackie Robinson Field out in Pasadena. A very old stadium that has been built. It was originally built for the White Sox in 1933 for their spring training facilities. And he did not put a good effort in there, I will say that. The first one now to Kai Nagashima, misses inside. It's a 1-0 count. Listen back to that radio call, and I believe he said, "Oh my," like was his reaction, or it was something along those lines. And it was just funny. You know, you expect better effort out of your broadcasters. That 1-0 is in there. It's a 1-1 count.
Well, definitely some great effort here from A.J. Frausto on the mound. Hagen has a 4-pitch mix, 2 fastballs, and with a regular 4-seamer and then a cutter, and then curveball and the changeup. The UC Riverside commit definitely, again, trying to see if – don't know what exactly the pitching plan is tonight for Evans and company, but if you can get a guy like Frausto to give you a couple innings of length, definitely feels better about, again, going into this weekend, having some fresher arms.
Well, definitely. You talk about the mix as well. That fastball that he just threw, he did miss a little bit inside. It's a 2-1 count. See if he goes back to it here, and does. Rather, it was a 1-2 count, and that is strike 3 right there. Back-to-back Ks for A.J. Frausto here in the top of the 6th, making quick work of the Philippines. Mentioned that fastball that can top around 92, has a 28% whiff rate. Of course, this past season was donned the champion with the Dons out at Santa Ana College. Picked up their 5th title with that program, and as you mentioned, is on to the Big West, and that one is pulled through the left hole for a base hit for Caden Lewis. He's aboard here for the 2nd time. And rather, that was the pinch hitter, Hector Pena, who's been known to torch the Riptide. Does so with 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. Now Wyatt Lamarsna still in the game at the bottom of the order. Is 0 for 2 with a flyout and a pop-up. Waits for that one. A big cut and a miss. Frausto throwing straight butane here so far. Had a lot of these batters off balance. Mention that about Hector Pena. He was 4 for 12 with 2 RBIs and 3 walks in those 4 games versus the Riptide, as Lamarsna fouls that one straight back and greets Frausto, who blew the first 2 batters away and lined one hard over towards the left side. And that's just their 4th hit of the ballgame.
Yeah, Frausto's definitely gotten a little bit of a groove here. Again, quick, easy 2 Ks. First pitch single there from the pinch hitter, and then again trying to get Lamar's now on 3 pitches. And again for Frausto and everyone on this Riptide team, just trying to keep the momentum going of an incredible night.
That 0-2, and that one popped out of the hand a little late. Not a competitive 0-2 offering, but was bringing the heat right there was Frausto. And, of course, you mentioned he's joining the UC Riverside out in the Big West. Going to have a lot of good reps out there. Here's his 1-2, and that one popped out of the hand again. Has definitely struggled with the consistency. has been able to at least throw strikes with the fastball. Hasn't really found that with his off-speed just yet. That last outing on the 18th against the Waves was when he had a 1-2-3 7th inning. Then that 8th inning where he struggled in that one but did not here in the top of the 6th. Strikes out the side. The Riptide still take their gargantuan 13-0 lead into the bottom of the 6th. Bottom of the 6th inning, in which the Orange County Riptide lead 13-0. Yes, you heard that right. 13-0 over the Philippines baseball group. It's going to be 6, 7, and 8 due up for the Riptide. Righty, righty, righty. Starting with Fitzpatrick. Marsh is on deck, and rather it looks like that is Trajan Rogowski on deck. Have some more pinch hitters with the sizable lead for the Riptide. The first one from the new arm in the righty, Jack Nelson. Missed down low. It's a 1-0 count. It's the 10th appearance for Jack Nelson this summer. Through 14 innings of work, has an 8.36 ERA, and even walk and K ratio at 12 apiece. But is 0 for 3 on the season, and unfortunately picked up the loss the last time these two met, and that 1-0 is slapped into right field through the right side for Dennis Fitzpatrick, who's been aboard 3 times here tonight, but has his first official hit of the night as well.
Nice piece there from Fitzpatrick. And like you were starting to mention there, Colin, again, last time out was against this Riptide, did get walked off by the Rally Tide and that exceptional comeback win. And just, again, hurts a little bit when you're on the mound and get a bit like that. But, again, trying to find a little bit of a bounce-back outing here. We need to kind of shore things up. Again, find the zone if he can after that leadoff single to Fitzpatrick.
Now brings up Trajan Rogowski. The Riptide have a full bench tonight, and Coach Evans plans on using it through and through. First one is outside and down a little bit low. It's a 1-0 count to Trajan Rogowski. This will be his 25th game with the Riptide, hitting .262, 2 RBIs, has 16 runs and 20 walks. It's 1 for 5 yesterday at Arroyo Seco with 3 strikeouts. Does not strike out that often. Tell you why in a second. That 1-0 inside outs, that one over towards first. Chavez tried to pick it up, but will instead just take it to himself at first base for the sure out. That will allow Fitzpatrick to move up into scoring position now with one away here in the bottom of the 6th. That'll now bring up Sean Romero, who will stay in this game behind the dish for the Riptide. Officially 0 for 2 in this one, reached on a fielder's choice in the first, popped out over towards first base in the third, and then had that sac fly RBI in the fourth. That capped off that six-run fourth inning that put him up 12-0. Looks at that slider. Inside, it's a 1-0 count. You mentioned the Riptide obviously having a lot of pieces that they can use in and out behind that dish. And Sean Romero has been exceptional behind the dish. He does want to bump up the batting numbers a little bit, though. He's hitting .227 in game number 15 now at the Riptide. Awaits the 1-0 from Jack Nelson. Fitzpatrick with the standard lead over at second. The 1-0. Hits that one hard, but foul down the right field line. Over towards Crush out in right field. Heads up, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe there's a little bit of toilet paper wrapped around his leg. That might be some fun antics in between innings here.
We'll have to wait and see. For a guy like Sean Romero, Scoops, obviously the guy. This guy who is no stranger to the bright lights. Again, a former team MVP in his senior season. So someone who swings the bat well, just trying to, again, find the momentum. And it feels like he's just been a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. And when he does, the CCL better watch out.
That 1-1 waits from Jack Nelson. Looks back to Fitzpatrick. Deals the 1-1. Instead, that one catches the outer half. It's a 1-2 count. When we talk about Sean Romero, he obviously played club baseball as well, played for the SoCal Birds for 4 years, hit an unreal .587 with 3 homers in the Perfect Game World Series with that team. But he also played on the 18U Colton Nighthawks, who the Riptide actually played last season in one of their non-league games. It's a 1-2 count. That one is yanked, and that'll be a wild pitch and will allow Fitzpatrick to jog over towards third. Just like that, the Riptide are looking to go up 2 touchdowns.
And you got to tip your cap to Sean Romero there again. Pitch was just a bit outside, but for guys, again, wanting to find a little bit of a hero moment, wanting to add to the board, wanting to add to the stats in a game like this, you can just appreciate the discipline of not wanting to do too much there. Saw I was outside, did not go chasing, waiting for his pitch to strike.
2-2 now. Nelson stares at Fitzpatrick at third. Deals the 2-2. That one is lined back up the middle. That'll be a base hit. The Orange County Riptide are up by 2 touchdowns, officially 14-0 here in the bottom of the 6th.
I mean, the best announcer jinx right there, Colin, waiting for his pitch to strike. He found it, and again, didn't do too much with it. Just took it up the middle, and the Riptide keep on rolling here in the bottom of the 6th.
That is his first RBI since July 11th against the Barons. Game in which he went 1 for 3, where he had a walk in 3, or rather, over at first base now. Waits for that one, and it was Alex Dolan, but of course was taken over by Hunter Harrington. Now pinch hits for him here in the bottom of the 6th. Looks at that one for a 1-0 count. Rather, it was on the 14th at Conejo for Sean Romero. He had an RBI force out in that game. That was the last time he had an RBI, so it's been nearly 10 days for him. It's a 1-0 count now. Harrington waits and was ready to crush that ball, but a little bit off balance right there, a 1-1 count. Hunter Harrington, another one of those guys who just wants to take advantage of every opportunity that's presented to him. This is just his 14th game with the Riptide this summer, hitting a .182. Does have 9 RBIs to his name, though. 1-1 count with 1 in and 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. That one missed outside, a good take, a 2-1 count. He's just one of 2 incoming freshmen on this team, and a good point that's been brought up by Sam, it's been brought up by a lot of the team with the coaches. This is really the first time that he's ever had to struggle in a moment and really face a lot of adversity, but he has sort of embraced it and has become a clubhouse favorite because he's just been consistently working on his craft. Did cut and miss right there, a 2-2 count. That's something you want to see out of your young players. You know, a lot of guys come in not sure what to expect when they play summer ball, but this is his first time facing collegiate-level arms and collegiate-level bats when he's in the outfield. So this has just been an overall experience that he has fully relished. See if he can cook up something this AB. The 2-2. Hits that one hard on the ground, chops over towards short, a 6-4. Not going to get the double play right there. A nice job by Johnny Reister over there to at least start the double play, but fired that one a little bit too high. Rather, that is Kai Nagashima, who is over at short. Couple defensive changes here for the Philippines. We'll have some more for you in just a second. But Zach Woodson tosses the bat over there of Harrington and steps up with 2 outs with 1 across here in the bottom of the 6th.
And for Harrington there, again, it's never fun to struggle, but especially going into the collegiate level where, again, it is such a different talent jump from the high school level. Maybe it will be good for him to kind of have the struggles. And again, like you said, he's been incredibly disciplined and has incredible mentality when it comes to those struggles this season. So for him, already knowing how to deal with some collegiate level struggles at least could help him down the long run.
Well, that was a high chopper that went just foul down the first base line. Philippines do catch a little bit of a break right there as for Zach Woodson. Coming up for his 2nd plate appearance already. Of course, pinch hit for Navarro back in the 5th inning is already back up for his 2nd plate appearance. Waggles the bat in an 0-1 count. Nelson checks back over at first to Harrington. Trying to escape this inning with just the 1 run allowed. His 0-1 offering to Woodson is yanked way wide and down low. It's a 1-1 count. The tall lefty awaits for the offering from the tall right-handed pitcher. A 1-1. That one is lined straight back into the net. A 1-2 count. Interestingly for Zach Woodson, kind of just getting his feet wet again for the Riptide. He's just his 2nd game back. He, of course, was in the lineup yesterday at Arroyo Seco. He was 0 for 3 with a walk, but that was his first game since July 7th against Slow. He, of course, was vacationing out in Greece. He's now adjusting back into the American lifestyle, playing America's pastime. 1-2 is yanked wide, a 2-2 count. It was interesting talking with him that he was kind of telling me just how difficult it was for him to adjust. He was actually with the team on Sunday when they played the Philippines, but he told me he was barely awake for that one as he had just gotten back from a rather 14-hour flight. 2-2 count with 2 outs. Rather, full count now with 2 outs. That one is wide for ball 4. Zach Woodson, he is aboard here for the first time tonight. Just his 2nd AB as a pinch hitter.
I mean, those time jumps are no joke, Colin. I mean, someone who's done a Europe trip before, definitely it's very easy to get kind of jammed and your whole clock thrown off there, but timing for him at the plate seems to be back in. Just a good AB. They're able to work it full, gets the walk, able to keep things going. And for the Riptide, again, just looking to see if they can extend this lead in any way possible, make this terrible night any better. Has been anything but terrible, Colin.
That was a great way to put it, of course. The Riptide have made it a terrible outing for the Philippines so far. Has not gone the way that they would like this one to go. And after they really challenged the Riptide in their last 2 meetings, of course, it was decided by just 1 run in both contests. Madden Akko goes after the first one, hits it weakly over towards the Philippines dugout. Is there enough room? Instead, that one will kick off foul. Well, believe it was their catcher right there that just kind of did like a soccer slide on that one. That was quite impressive, but it hit off the pole, unfortunately. That's a 0-1 count. Foul ball is a foul ball.
Yeah, and you got to be careful there for those Philippines baseball group players right there. Foul balls coming down from very close to the net, close to the wall, close to the dugout, are no joke, especially when you're sliding in. There's a lack of communication. Who's going to get there? Who's calling it off? Who's taking a step back? And good effort from everyone involved to avoid some potential injury, but those plays are no joke. So being able to walk out of there with, nothing even happened is great for them. Obviously, would have loved the out, but they're going to instead look to the pitcher on the mound, Nelson, to hopefully finish things through here.
Still just the 1 run allowed here for Nelson. Does have traffic on the bases with 2 outs. Akko ropes that one in towards left center. Caden Lewis on the run, puts it away for the 3rd out. The Riptide scratch another run across, officially lead it by 2 touchdowns. We'll move to the latter 3rd. We are now in the top of the 7th inning here in the second to last game of the regular season here at the Orange County Great Park. The Riptide have made everything count here tonight. 14-0 is the score over the Philippines baseball group. AJ Frausto is back out for his second inning of work. Be facing the top of the order, starting with Eric Espinoza, who's 0 for 2 in this one, has hit the ball on the ground hard to third in the 3rd inning and over towards short in the 5th, and sends that one straight back over the top of the stadium. Heads up anyone back there. It's an 0-1 count. For Eric Espinoza, of course, we talked about kind of coming into this one. Had just 9 hits this season. 6 of them were against the Riptide. Still searching for his first here tonight. That 0-1 was a easy take as it was a little bit of chin music. It's a 1-1 count. He'll be playing out in Silicon Valley, out in the Bay Area at Menlo College. Huge credit to the work he's put in this summer. That 1-1 is in there, a close take, but it's a 1-2 count regardless.
If the Philippines are going to want to get on the board here, add some runs, just going to feel better about the way they're ending this game, I feel like it has to start with Espinoza, a guy who the Riptide just have not been able to get out much this season, except for tonight, which, again, changing their luck of fortune. But if they want to get a run on board, it feels like it starts with Espinoza.
Well, it's not going to happen right there. He chased a slider in the other batter's box, got him to pull the string, and Frausto already has his 4th K through his first 5 outs now.
And that's
first 4, rather.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Colin, but that's what happens when you are down big in a game like this. Again, you mentioned that he chased that slider out and away, and you just kind of lose focus yourself sometimes when you're down again. You're down 14-0. This game is all but over, but again, you want to stay true to yourself, stay very disciplined in who you are as a player. And if we're being honest, that just a slider that I feel like a guy in Espinoza rarely ever chases, that he doesn't really feel true to himself as a player.
He's quickly getting ahead of Reister, 0-1. He fires another one, and that one is straight back. And instead, that is going to be the pinch hitter, number 16, Mason Fang, the rising junior outfielder, an IE native out of Rancho Cucamonga. This will be his 11th game this summer with the Philippines. Comes in hitting a .192 with a pair of RBIs. Last game he played against the Riptide on the 19th, as that 0-2 was yanked wide. It's a 1-2 count. Was 0 for 4 with 3 Ks, and he grounded out to short. But his other previous game at Arroyo Seco was a lot better on the 17th. Was 2 for 3 with an RBI, a walk, a stolen base, and a run scored. Here's that 1-2. He swings and misses. Sees just 4 pitches in his first at-bat here tonight. That is quickly 2 away. Already 5 punch-outs through just his first 5 outs now. Frausto dealing.
I mean, Frausto is just grooving again. Not in a high-leverage situation, so definitely a lot less stress coming into this outing, and as he'll continue to go through it, depending on how long he will go. But, again, just great for him. You want to continue to see who can be the high-leverage guys when push comes to shove, when you're facing teams like the Barons and the Saints and up and slow and the 3 games to end this season, and then, of course, when you make to those playoffs. Excuse me, Colin.
No worries right there. It's a lot going on in the CCL, of course. So that first one to Sells is down low. It's a 1-0 count. Rather, I believe that is Austin Bash, if I'm not mistaken. It's a 1-0 count. And indeed it is. The rising junior outfielder, bats left-handed, out of Calabasas, California, who I believe you know.
Yeah, through our mutual friend Daniel Kaufman there in the press box. He actually went to high school with Austin, so I got to talk to him pre-game just about his experience at NYU, how much he's loved it there, and we'll have to wait for his next at-bat to talk some more about him.
Yeah, I did pop that one, got under the 2-0 count, and sent it over to Connor Barth. Well, a 1-2-3 inning for A.J. Frausto. He is through 2 clean innings. We stretch here at the Great Park with the Riptide up a ton. We now move to the bottom of the 7th here at the Great Park. Well, it is terrible night, and in theme of keeping the terrible night, our fellow broadcaster Avi Singh just sung "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Spare everyone's hearing, why we kept you in commercial break, of course. All jokes aside, a good job for Avi Singh getting the crowd into it. One of the more enthusiastic ones that we have seen here for a 7th inning stretch.
I mean, you rarely ever see a live performer here at the Great Park being able to bring the fans together in the 7th inning stretch, and it's always good to get the community going with that beautiful 7th inning stretch. And just gotta tip your cap there to Avi Singh. He's saying that pretty much every single broadcast in between innings. So for him, finally get a little bit of moment in the spotlight down there behind home plate. Sure got to feel good for him.
Well, for Jack Nelson, he'll be back out for his 2nd inning of work, facing 3-4-5 Nate Pone, who pinch hit for Sable back in the 5th inning. Grounded out, his 0 for 1 officially. Nelson waits and fires to Pone. That one missed high, a 1-0 count. Nate Pone waits for the offering from Jack Nelson. Delivers, and that one is outside, a 2-0 count. Well, for Nate Pone, the Riptide will have him for officially one more week, and he will be good to play for the Riptide at least through the Southern Division Championship game if the Riptide are to make it that far. But does have to head back starting July 30th up to St. George in Utah to begin fall ball and school year for the Utah Tech. That one is outside, rather on the outer half, a 2-1 count. So it'll be a few-hour drive cutting through 2 different states to the southwestern point out at Utah. Congratulations on his commitment there earlier this year. That 2-1 is high, a 3-1 count. We'll be teammates with Skippy, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is still over at first. And rather, I think that's Austin Plasinski over at first base now. The Riptide just going through first base coaches.
I mean, when your bullpen doesn't have to be switching out every inning on the mound, you can sure switch them out at first base coach over there.
Well, and Pone hardly needed to swing the lumber there. Looks at that 3-1 inside. He's aboard for the first time in just his 2nd plate appearance tonight. That'll now bring up Thomas Cernius, who pinch hit for Lonzo Reyes back in the 5th inning as well. He had an RBI base knock to wrap up a 1-run and to make it a 13-0 game at that point for the Riptide. Going to keep that rolling here in his 2nd plate appearance. Pone over at first. Nelson fires, and that one popped out of the glove of Noah Rodriguez behind the dish, and Pone can walk into second base on the passed ball. In a game in which the Philippines would like to forget, already with 5 errors across, have more errors than hits here tonight. That is another one that they'll want to sort of just wipe away and allow the Riptide to get another runner in scoring position and allow Thomas Cernius have an easier chance to collect his 2nd RBI.
I mean, just clinical errors here and there calling all night have been the Achilles heel for this Philippines baseball group that at times has been very pesky. We saw this Riptide team had to put up a fight to come back this past week against this team. So a team that just, again, the defense letting them down today, haven't played their best baseball. We'll look to do that for the rest of the weekend.
He lined that one back into the net 1-1, and even though Jack Nelson wasn't able to close that one out in the bottom of the 9th, it started with that RBI double from Bradley Navarro, and that kind of just catapulted the offense from there. They just strung together consecutive hits and were able to bring in both runs and get their 2nd walk-off win. But they were on the cusp of getting a back-to-back win for the first time since July 3rd and July 4th of last season, and they have been close a lot of times. You look at their game on the 17th, before they played the Riptide on the 19th. They played Menlo Park, and there was a game in which they had a 1-run lead going into the bottom of the 8th inning, and they just couldn't hold on. That 1-1 is yanked wide. It's a 2-1 count. So this is a team that has been, like you said, very pesky and has continued, at least in the last couple meetings against the Riptide, to do that. But so far, the Riptide have had their number tonight. Two and one count now. Nelson waits for the sign to his catcher Rodriguez. Fires, and Cernius gets underneath that one. Hits it into weakly shallow left center. or rather in left field. Instead, it's going to be the shortstop Nagashima who puts that away for the first out here in the bottom of the 7th.
At first glance, Colin, I thought that was hanging in no man's land. Had a chance to drop in just with the luck that has been against the Philippines today in this one, but good work from the shortstop there to just able to leg one out.
And now brings up Connor Bart, still in the lineup here tonight. It's officially 2 for 4 in this one with 2 base hits and an RBI and a stolen base. Did become the only punch-out victim back in the 5th inning to end that one for the Riptide. Miraculously enough, the Riptide have just consistently put the ball in play. Another huge factor in why they're up by as many as they are. That first one inside a 1-0 count. And for Connor Barth, this has just been a good stretch to see what he's been able to do really over the last week specifically, because there was a stretch coming into the beginning of July where he was just 2 for 26. He wasn't hitting the ball well. He was able to at least put the ball in play, but he was really struggling to get good at-bats, and that one is roped hard toward third, but a nice play over there and a strike down over towards first, and a great pick, and I believe that was Wyatt Lamarsna over at first, and indeed it was. Heck of a play on both ends right there. Quickly 2 away now in the bottom of the 4th, or rather the bottom of the 7th, excuse me.
I mean, for the Philippines baseball group that up in there that got anyone on the diamond, I mean, you just got to love to see that. Again, you want to look at the small wins for this game, want to slowly feel better about the momentum, whether that be, again, in the field, at the plate, on the mound. That's a big win you're going to take from this game. Got to tip your cap to the third baseman.
And now brings up Dennis Fitzpatrick, a fellow third baseman here tonight. Waits for the first one, hits that one hard off the end of the bat in towards right center. Pona's around third. He will score easily. Dennis Fitzpatrick gives the Riptide the lead that matches his jersey number. Feels wrong to say that, but it's true. A great piece of hitting right there with 2 outs from Fitzpatrick. Already his 4th time aboard here tonight, his 2nd hit as well.
I mean, I'm sure our fellow commentator obviously is having a great night. Not only, of course, got to sing the 7th inning stretch, but a guy who, as always, wants to see Dennis Fitzpatrick in the lineup, having a great night for him so far.
That'll now bring up Trajan Rogowski, who pinch hit for Tatum Marsh back in the 6th. Took over and now is in center field. He lines that one right back up the middle. Picked up on a force-out play to end the inning. Rogowski slams the bat down in frustration, but nonetheless, the Riptide score for the 4th consecutive inning, and they'll take their 15-0 lead into the top of the 8th. Now the top of the 8th inning here at the Orange County Great Park. The Riptide leading the Philippines baseball group 15-0. We'll now bring out A.J. Frausto back out for his 3rd inning of work, set to face 4, 5, 6. It's going to be Christopher Vercelis pinch hitting here in the top of the 8th for Isaiah Chavez. A slew of changes defensively and with the bats as well. Riptide just 6 outs away from inching that much closer to the 1 seed. That one clipped the shoulder and is awarded first base. It was a bit of chin music that he was greeted with right there, but home plate umpire Xander Miller says it did get a piece of him. He's aboard with the leadoff hit by pitch.
And it's that time of the night, Colin, to take you around the CCL. We've been mentioning one of the bigger storylines all day long, but the biggest probably a game other than this one for the Riptide. The 10-3 win for the Slow Blues over the Conejo Oaks. And again, they're going to face each other tomorrow back up in Slow. So that's going to be a huge game to see again for the seeding as we go on the rest of the way. Obviously, we have us here, top 8, 15-0. Looking over the Alameda Merchants down 3-4 to the San Francisco Seagulls. Top of the 8th there in the north, as along with the Menlo Park Legends down 5-8 against the Sonoma Stompers. And for that, so far, it's really all we have going on today.
Well, you mentioned that first game, of course. It's huge implications now. If the Riptide are to win tomorrow and Slow Blues are able to beat the Oaks again, the Riptide will officially clinch the #1 seed. The 0-1 now to Rodriguez. That one is skipped in the dirt, and I believe they'll rule that one a pass ball as it went off the glove of Sean Romero. Regardless, Vercelis is up at second base. Still no outs.
Definitely fatigue, somewhat of a concern for Frausto. Has had quick innings of work, but again, when you're in a game like this, you lose your steam a little bit. So want to make sure that he continues to apply the pressure on there on the mound.
And indeed, they ruled it a wild pitch. Kind of popped out of the hand a little early. It was a tough play for Romero despite him being able to get a glove on it. It's a 1-1 count. Frausto delivers and yanks that one in the dirt. A nice stop this time by Romero. It's a 2-1 count. We mentioned that for the Riptide, of course. It's just been a crazy 24-hour stretch. And obviously, if the Oaks were to lose tomorrow, like we mentioned, the Riptide win, just based on the way the rest of the week it go, it would not matter as the Riptide would need to just win 3 times. That 2-1 is cut on and missed. A 2-2 count. Because even if the Oaks were to go 3-2 this week, the Riptide would just need to win 3 times this week and sort of beat them out by the win percentage as it's determined, despite the Oaks dominating them in the season series. That 2-2 is hit out in towards center field. Camped under it out there is Trajan Rogowski, waits for it, and finally comes back to earth. 1 out here in the top of the 8th. Now Nomar Vasquez, who pinch hits for Ethan Granillo here in the 8th inning, will not need to put on a glove because he is DHing tonight. For Coach Will Pickett's squad, just emptying out the bench at this rate. For Vasquez, this is game number 21 here with the Philippines, and he has had a heck of a summer. 286 with 6 RBIs, 10 walks, and as many runs scored. Most importantly, 4 for 10 with 5 RBIs in 3 games versus the Riptide, and right on cue fouls that one hard straight back into the net. He's actually hit in 6 of his last 7 games. The only one in which he didn't was on the 15th here against the Riptide.
And you mentioned that hitting stretch, Colin. His last game went 1 for 2 against the aforementioned Blues when we went around the CCL. And for a guy like Vasquez, again, trying to keep the line moving, trying to get the PPG on the board in the 8th inning.
The 0-1, that one is just a bit high, a 1-1 count. Well, for the Philippines, the schedule is definitely a tough one to sort of wrap up their season. They, of course, play the Riptide here. They will have 2 more days off after tonight and then wrap up their season out at Conejo on the 26th on Sunday. The 1-1. That one is inside, a 2-1 count. And fittingly enough, it would have looked like it could have been the same situation it was last year for the Riptide, and where the Philippines would have needed to beat the Oaks to help the Riptide out. It did not go that way. It was a blowout victory for the Oaks. But with the Riptide, they might not need to worry about that game heading up on Sunday. Here's the 2-1. That one is lined straight back into the net. It's a 2-2 count. Well, we've seen a lot of eerily similar things here tonight, but the Riptide are hoping that that doesn't happen again this season. Obviously, they just needed to win one of their final 2 games last year against the Saints or the Blues. Couldn't do it. They fell to the 2 seed. They hosted the very Saints team and ended up losing in their own home ballpark. A 2-2 count now with Frosto on the mound. Waits and fires a strike on the outer half. A called strike 3 from home plate umpire Xander Miller. Frosto now through 2 2/3 strong innings of work and already his 6th punch out.
And just good work there from Fausto on the mound. Again, he's not going to let anything phase him. Pretty much it seems like it here. Again, 4 outs away from victory. It does look like he is going to be the one to close this game out. No one warming in the pen for the Riptide. So for Fausto, just trying to keep things in a rhythm here and doesn't need to do too much in order to do that.
Frosto delivers that one. It's in there for a strike to Kai Nagashima. 0-1 count. Definitely had great command with that fastball. 0-1 now. Frosto waiting for his sign from Romero. Comes set. Delivers his 0-1. He hacks and misses again. Quickly ahead 0-2. Frosto has been dealing for the Riptide, and despite it being a low leverage situation, has saved a lot of arms for the Riptide to be used in that pen. So many important games coming up. Here's that 0-2 on the outer half again. Back-to-back called strike 3s and 7 punch-outs through 3 clean innings for A.J. Frosto. The Riptide will take their 15-0 lead into the bottom of the 8th. The bottom of the 8th inning now. The Riptide will more than likely be coming up to hit for the last time in this one. You look at the scoreboard and explains why that is the case. 15-0 lead here. You now face a new arm for the Philippines baseball group, the right-hander number 26, Ronan Nakui. The rising junior, 6'1", 180 pounds, out of Fontana, California. Be pitching in his 10th game, the Philippines this summer. Delivers the first one to Romero, lines that one straight back. Sinker, cutter, curveball, the mix for Nakui, who did not play this past season at L.A. Pierce College. The last 3 times he has been on the bumper, 2 of the last times, rather, have been against this very Riptide team. Had a clean 7th and 8th inning Their last meeting on the 19th, that 0-1 sent straight back foul by Romero and goes straight back in towards the main entrance. 0-2 still.
Yeah, there was very little that Nakui had to deal with in that one. 3 Ks, only 1 walk, the only base runner that he allowed against the Riptide. Again, that day, the pitching staff for the PBG was all but grooving. I mean, they were doing to the Riptide what the Riptide are doing to the PBG today.
That 0-2 poked off the end of the bat from Romero, weakly over towards first. And Wyatt Lamarsna fires that one after catching it. Quickly 1 away here in the bottom of the 8th. And I'll now bring up the future Stanford Cardinal and Hunter Harrington, who pinch hit back in the 6th inning for Alex Dolan. Officially 0 for 1 with the fielder's choice, but will already get a second plate appearance here despite pinch hitting just 2 innings ago. Nakui's on the outer half with the cutter, is in there for a strike. Oh and 1. Scoots out of the way of that one, does Harrington. It's a 1-1 count. One now from Harrington. Hits that one weakly over toward right, in between second and right field. And they collide out there. Did the ball fall down? It did. Well, miscommunication in right field nets Hunter Harrington a base hit, if that is indeed what they rule it. Amongst the many things that have taken place here at the Great Park tonight, add that one to the ledger.
Yeah, I mean, Colin, again, I know we're in the bottom of the 8th. This is the last move for the Riptide, but if you're the PPG, anyone on that diamond, I mean, that kind of miscommunication can't happen. I mean, again, you look at the scoreboard, 6 attributed defensive errors, but it sure feels like it's been a little bit more than that up in the booth again, just because of the mental lapses what we've seen in the field today, which for a Philippines group that doesn't really just feel like themselves.
Now Zach Woodson steps up and cuts and misses on that one for a strike. They did rule it an error by the second baseman, Braden Sells. That is their 6th error of the game. Well, Riptide themselves have actually had a 6-error game. That was out at Conejo on the 14th, a game in which they lost in the middle innings, and Oaks did not look back from there. And 0-1 is outside. It's a 1-1 count. For Hunter Harrington, though, good for him to get on base as well. He fought that one off. Talked about his time at Cathedral Catholic. Was actually teammates with the current A's manager, Mark Kotze, his son Trey Kotze, who plays baseball with the Medford Rogues. That 1-1 is down in the dirt, 2-1 count for the newly formed Pacific Empire League that started just 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get to connect with someone on that level again in the dugout is huge. But to have that be the kid of a major league manager, a former player, I mean, it's important for so many number of reasons. One, just getting your foot and to be able to talk to someone who has some MLB experience, and I'll finish that after this call, Colin.
And that one is roped deep in towards right field. That one is carrying well, and it's gone. Zach Woodson puts good wood on that one in towards right center field. The Riptide just continue to pile it on 17-0 here in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, Colin, if there was any concern for jet lag for Woodson, still, again, a few games after that trip, I think those concerns are gone. I mean, in a park we haven't seen a lot of homers out all of the season, the Riptide continue just to find ways to have a party tonight. 18-0 now the score. I mean, what else can you say that hasn't been said already, Colin? Just absolute domination from everyone on this roster.
That ball was roped and deep into that Irvine night, of course. That one missed high and away to Madden Akko. We talked about the jet lag. That ball certainly took flight right there. That was hit way out there towards right center. And rather, I can't even do math myself. It is 18-0 here in the bottom of the 8th. Madden Akko cuts and misses a 1-1 count.
You know, it's a terrible night, Colin. I think if we forget to, how to do math for a quick second, it should be fine. But actually, the analytics department does have it 17-0. It has been changed on the scoreboard, so.
I actually was right. I'll take that back. I should have trusted my instincts more.
You gotta trust your instincts, especially on the call.
That 1-1 missed high at 2-1. At least I did say it in that moment right there. I wasn't too sure because I knew that it was already 15. So I was like, how did we get to 18? But the Riptide would look to make it 18 if they could string together another run. It's now 5 consecutive innings in which the Riptide have scored. A 2-1, that one is way wide and down. It's a 3-1 count now to Madden Akko, who is shown on the scoreboard as Omaha the Bat Dog, playing the rough position.
Come on, Colin. It's about on the 8th.
It is indeed what it says on the scoreboard in right field.
There you go. That is true. Give Omaha the Bat Dog 100 tries, you think she finds a way to make it on base?
Well, we know Madden Akko just got on base right there. That was certainly not a rough outing. And for Omaha, I think she could put a good swing in there. Regardless, the Riptide have 1 on and 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th.
For the Riptide, their highest scoring game all season. And truly has to be such a good feeling, and that's really an understatement to everyone here, to have this kind of explosion, to have this kind of domination from your pitching staff as well, to get your pitching staff some rest, and to what is going to be the most important stretch of the season. Of course, that can become a little less important when you have teams like the Blues helping you out and they're up and slow, but regardless of that, this is going to be one of your most important stretches of the season because of the fact that what's at stake, and to have this kind of momentum carrying into you the rest of the weekend, that's got to be a great feeling.
That 0-1 from Pone is hit weakly in toward shallow right field. And they put that one away for the second out here in the bottom of the 8th. Well, for the Riptide, of course, as you mentioned, their highest scoring game was broken the moment that homer was hit off of the bat of Woodson. The most they had scored in a game this summer was the team that they're going to be seeing on Saturday here against the Arroyo Seco Saints. That was back when they were out at Pasadena on June 13th. It was a 16-2 game, and I was not there for that broadcast, so initially thought I could have been bad luck for the offense right there. But they put up a massive 17-run effort here tonight. Thomas Cernia stands as the potential last batter here for the Riptide tonight. That one is high for a 1-0 count.
Colin, I got to ask you, I mean, when the energy is so high on a night like this, you're going to be on the road going out to Compton tomorrow morning. What's the goal as far as carrying the momentum? How can this energy be carried into tomorrow as far as, again, what you were able to see on the field today?
Well, definitely for the Riptide, they understand what's at stake. They put themselves in a perfect position to where they can cut their magic number to 2 now if their win and an Oaks loss tomorrow. Could be between 3 as well, obviously, with the uneven number of games being played. That 2-0 is yanked down into the dirt. It's a 3-0 count. The Riptide, they understand they're in the home stretch of the season, but the big thing for them is just to try to stay level-headed. Of course, you see so many teams come out one night, put up a massive amount of runs, and then come out the next night and put up 1 or 2. That 3-0 is in there for a strike. So it's more than likely going to be a different lineup. They're not going to bring everybody with them to the road trip because they want to really prepare in case that game on Sunday at Slow becomes that much more meaningful if these next 2 games don't go according to plan. Here's the 3-1. Missed outside for ball 4. The Riptide tally another base runner here in this marathon of a game.
And you have to imagine that would be the way vice versa, Colin, if they're able to find a way to clinch and get everything ready for either tomorrow night or Saturday. Could probably see them take a little bit of a break off as far as how many players they're bringing up to Slow that Sunday, again, just to make sure that their guys they want to rely on for that playoff game that they would hopefully be hosting here at the Great Park, making sure the guys that they want are ready.
That'll now bring up Connor Barth, who is still remain in the lineup for the Riptide here tonight. Just him, Fitzpatrick on deck, and Romero have remained in the starting lineup all night. That one is lined straight back, an 0-1 count. The Riptide, as you mentioned, go out on the road for the second to last time tomorrow out at the MLB Youth Academy to play the MLB Academy Barons. That game is at 6:05. Myself and Sam Evans will be on the call for that one. A truly beautiful facility out there. Definitely one of my favorite places to go. That 0-1 is lined straight back, an 0-2 count. You just get a real sense of the game when you're at that facility. You understand the history, the people that have come before it. You have Dominic Smith and so many other major leaguers listed on the outfield walls. You truly feel like you're in America's pastime, and also the future generation that's coming up to play as they have all those youth leagues and 17 and 16U groups as well. The 0-2, that one hits off the back helmet of Connor Barth, but that one couldn't have been thrown more than 70 miles an hour. He wears it and walks down to first, and that'll officially load the bases. And fittingly enough, the Riptide, if they can get a hold of one here, could put up a 20 spot in this one.
20 spots certainly has to be on their mind for the Riptide, but in case we don't get a quick chance to shout him out, you got to give a shout out to Sean Romero behind the dish. And a game like this, where you're, again, very rarely where you'll see a catcher switch in the middle of the game, especially here in the CCL. But again, for a guy who's going to be catching all 9 innings, it has some wear and tear, especially in a game where you're gone for so long with offensive explosions like this.
Well, that one is hit towards right field weakly off the bat of Fitzpatrick. Able to put it away in right field, though, to finally wrap up the bottom of the 8th inning. The Riptide tally on 2 more and just need 3 more outs to wrap up this domination, should say. A.J. Frausto will be out to pitch tonight. Top of the 9th moves forward here at the Orange County Great Park. The Riptide just looking for 3 quick outs to wrap up this domination of a game in which they lead 17-0. The most amount of runs scored in a game this season and easily their largest lead of the season. Frausto delivers that one to Hector Pena in there for a strike. Well, another thing for the Riptide that they can get out of this game is the best outing that they have had out of A.J. Frausto this season. Looking to complete his 4th inning of work and have his longest outing of the season, cuts and misses 0-2 now. He already has a season-high 7 punch-outs. His season high was already 3 coming into tonight, so he quickly not only shattered but more than doubled it. Just 1 strike away from punch-out number 8. And he checks swing, appeal down to first, and he went around, says first base umpire Frank Flugrat. 8 punchies now for A.J. Frausto here now in the top of the 9th.
I mean, I'm sure in that post-game huddle, Frausto is going to get a big shout-out from company. And I'm sure you and Sam will have to debate who's your player of the game. But for me, before I go, I definitely have to shout out A.J. Frausto as my player of the game. I mean, everyone on the lineup, everyone up and down the bench provided today offensively. So got to give it to the pitcher who's just continued to shut this game down, help provide some innings, and some amazing innings at that.
Of course, you mentioned Wyatt Lamarsna, weak contact. He rolled it on the ground to Connor Barth. Gets the 4-3 put out for quickly 2 away here in the 9th. And for A.J. Frausto will complete more than likely his 4th inning of work to have his longest outing of the season. Already has it with that out right there. Went 3 1/3 against the Oaks out at Conejo on the 27th of June. Went 3 innings against this Philippines team in the 5th. Then also went 3 innings against the Academy Barons here on the 11th of July. He has not done any of that with putting up 0 runs on the board. That 0-2 is lined foul towards the Philippines dugout. It's an 0-1 count. Last hope for Eric Espinoza. Riptide are looking to improve to 25-15. That one is hit weakly in towards the crowd. And that one hit off the roof. Bounced a couple more times. Didn't see where that one landed, but that one hit a couple doinks and a couple bangs on its way out. As the clock strikes 9, the Riptide one strike away from victory number 25. Frausto shakes off Romero, waits for his sign. Attacks with the 0-2. That one on the outer half will not get the call, just a bit outside. 1-2.
I mean, you got to respect the umpire for staying true to this game bad enough. If I'm at the plate and I had an ABS challenge, if I'm Scoops there, I might certainly use one to end this game.
It will stay to a 1-2 count. Frausto have to throw another one. Gets him to chase the fastball in the dirt. 9 punch-outs through 4 spotless innings for A.J. Frausto to walk off and wrap up this 17-0 game here for the Orange County Great Park. They inch that much closer to the coveted number 1 seed. For Orange County, victory number 21 at home. They are now that much closer through the final 3 games of this regular season. Welcome you all up into the booth. I am Colin Costigan, now joined alongside Sam Evans. And Sam, you called an incredible first half, first of all.
Oh,
there was a lot of action in that. It feels like it's been forever since we've had you on this mic.
It was a fun first half. I'm so glad that Michael Herrera got to join you for the second half. I got to have some fun directing, doing some behind-the-scenes work. So it was enjoyable stuff. And, I mean, when the Riptide win big and you get the big help from the Slow Blues, I mean, this is, if you could have drawn up a perfect day, this would be a perfect day. This was everything we were looking for.
Quite the biggest victory the Riptide have had this season, and some of the best offensive output and pitching we have seen from them in our time here as well. But the Riptide nonetheless move on to 25-15 and inch that much closer to the number 1 seed. Could potentially clinch it tomorrow night if they're able to beat the Barons on the road. That first pitch will be at 6:05. We will be on the call for that one. If Conejo Oaks lose, the Riptide win tomorrow, they will be the regular season champs for the CCL. Thank you all for tuning in tonight, and hopefully you have a great night. Thank you for listening.